TGIT. It's Tuesday.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't have the same ring as TGIM, but it's Tuesday morning. That means Dr. Chapa is going to be here in studio with us. I think maybe right now. I was about to go on the FM, but he's about to walk through the door. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. This is going to be a giant distraction, and here we go. But let us know, what do you have going on today? Let us know how you're doing. We're excited to be able to start the day with y'all. How you doing, Dr. Chapa?
Fantastic.
I'm glad you're doing good.
It's really crazy. You know how time is?
How is time? Can you explain this one?
Well, every week it's the same bat time, same bat channel, and if you get out of your house even 5 to 7 minutes behind schedule, it completely. You can't make it up.
Dr. Chapa, this sounds kind of like a health thing where it's like. If the dude don't get out of the house 5 to 7 minutes early, you're going to be 5 to 7 minutes late.
That's right. That's about how it worked this morning.
You can't make it up.
You can't make it up.
You can try.
Yeah, all you can do is beg for forgiveness. So
you can try. Yeah.
Hey, well, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Chapa is into his house.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. You doing pretty good?
I am. I'm doing really good. Had a great, amazing weekend. Spent 3 days with some amazing clinicians and docs in the Houston area. And people from all over the country, actually. A lot of people from Southern California and in the Northeast, and it was wild to see many people come into Houston for a seminar, and it was all about the power of emotions and how our emotions play such a part in our overall health and well-being, and 90% of that game, that it can be retraced back to our past a little bit. Like what happened in our past, our emotional realities become, an expression of how we handle and deal with life's challenges today. And then the way triggers come into our lives day in and day out that ruffle our feathers or make us, recluse, or, things occur, and how if we can help people become aware of those emotional disconnects from, their past that could be that something triggered today, we could still help their body deal with stress better, because it always comes down to dealing with stress. And 90% of the times people are so, stressed out with something, physically, emotionally, spiritually. They're heavy laden and burdened. And, when we're, as Christians, we're so lucky that we can lay our burdens at the foot of the cross, right? And but a lot of folks, might not have that. And a lot of times, I always like to say, if you can name a thing, you can control a thing. But if you don't know something's happening in your past that could be driving the way you handle stress today, then we have a challenge in front of us, and maybe that's why you have reoccurring ailments in your body, and it's your body's check engine light expressing a disconnect.
Yeah,
so pretty awesome. Whenever
you have a problem you're trying to get fixed, you have to put your finger on, hey, what's the issue?
What is the issue?
Because otherwise you don't know, and how do you find the solution?
And this is what I'm all about, and what I've set out to do at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is to find a way to find the underlying cause of why your body's breaking down. And I'm open to the idea that it might be, nutrition might be my doorway to reach the masses, because people they can relate to food, right? I mean, everybody has some level of relationship with camaraderie in around fooding, so to speak. And if I can help people realize that that's just the doorway into the bigger conversations of finding out how to clean the body up biochemically and emotionally from the past. And one of the topics that we're putting together a class around adrenal health, energy, panic attacks, depression, anxiety, sleep challenges, and we have had people just commenting, yes, we want to come to that seminar, we want to come to that program, because people are dealing with this stuff day in and day out. So I thought maybe we'd just kind of talk to some of these things going on, so if people have questions that we can talk to with respect to anxiety or panic. And whether it's you, a loved one, or a child, we've got answers to help you work through these, really challenging issues that rise up, because it's no fun watching people suffer with this stuff.
That's true. Okay, so right now it's 8:41. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11. We have about 2.5 minutes left. Whenever this 2.5 minutes is up, if we're in a good point, we'll be able to go on the FM. That's some behind-the-scenes stuff right there. So we're on 99.5 FM. Right now there's music playing. If you're listening on KHEARadio.com, that's what you would hear. It's actually a song by Bethel from the Victory album, which is one of my favorite albums that's out right now. We actually had a rehearsal last night for music, and we did one of those songs. So I was really excited about it.
Woohoo!
So we kind of have to get these catch whenever like somebody's not in the middle of a thought, and then we say, okay, we're going to go on the FM. So it's a big old guessing game.
Yeah, we always
puzzle.
I wonder, we always say like Kickstart with Gardy and Curt starts at 8:30, but we never we start our Facebook Live at 8:30-ish.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the FM people are probably sitting there going like, it's
Why
8:42.
What's going on?
What's going on? And then they like adjust the clock to get it back to 8:30. They're like, oh, I goofed.
Those guys don't mess up on time. It must be like the iPhone's wrong, or like our phone. Yeah. So here we go. We got about 1:40. Good morning. Let us know, what do you have going on today? Robin, I see that you're on. Pierre, good morning, sir. And Leah and everybody else that's hanging out. Mercy, good morning, sunshine. Did I win? Hey, you may have won. You may have won. We need to announce those winners. We're probably going to do that around in that 9 o'clock, almost pretty much 10 o'clock hour, that window. We're giving away some crawfish. Fub on Me, Bistro and Grill. If you haven't had the opportunity to check them out, make sure you go do that. It is so good. It is so good. And I'm a big fan of crawfish. This is a Vietnamese restaurant. So they have pho. You can go get some of the soup. Hopefully you're not feeling under the weather, because the weather's kind of been doing some up and down stuff. But if you are, you need to go get some of that Vietnamese noodle soup. It hits the spot.
After you come to Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, so that I can get you well enough to go enjoy that wonderful goodness.
But do you eat that?
I love Thai food.
Yes.
And so Vietnamese, you can use those broths and stuff like that. They're so loaded with nutrients a lot of times. Assuming they don't use MSG.
They don't.
Okay, then we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff you got to avoid.
Yeah, well, you definitely have to be aware, because, chemicals are chemicals.
Yes. We got 25 seconds. Here's a look at some of the delicious food, but we're going to be picking some winners. You're going to have the opportunity to win that. Right now we got Dr. Aaron Chapa in the hot seat. He's going to be answering your questions. We're going to be learning about health, getting well, using food as a medicine, so that way you don't have to be sick anymore. So that way whenever you get to be much older in age, you'll be able to live a full life. Here we go. Good morning. You're listening to KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
And it is a beautiful Tuesday morning. I see Colleen Merritt. She popped on the stream, but we got some encouraging texts this morning, and it really brightened my day.
Yeah, we were kind of in a bad mood.
When you say we, Curt kind of
I was.
He stomped in here, and he was like, life. And I was like, is good? And you were like, life. And I was like, oh, gosh, why? I need some encouragement. And then Colleen popped in and brightened my day. No joke.
What, was I bringing you down?
A little bit, Curt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Not really.
You're not sorry?
No.
You should be.
You know why I'm not sorry? Because we're going to get our even more sunshine with Dr. Aaron Chapa in studio.
Come on now.
He is
a ray of sunshine.
You are. That's an accurate description right there. You walk in and you help brighten the day.
Maybe saying just good morning to somebody and just having a smile makes a huge difference in everybody's life.
We all have $1 million asset. Do you know what it is?
What?
It's
My
that
face.
lovely smile.
Hey, I got an electric toothbrush that I've been using, and so I'm working on my smile. It's one of those burst ones. I told my wife, and she's like, is that the one that Khloe Kardashian sells? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen that. But they have the corn, and they're like, zzz. Have you seen any of those ads?
Seen the burst.
They put coffee grounds like on a piece of corn, and then they like clean it off with a toothbrush. And it's like, imagine if it gets this corn this clean, what it does to your teeth. And so
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it. So, Dr. Chapa, you are a ray of sunshine. I'm glad that you're here today.
I'm glad to be here today. I always look forward to coming and hanging out with you guys, because you guys, are a symbol, like the bat symbol when it's up in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are a bat symbol for, warm, encouraging thoughts and bringing smiles and sunshine
We
to
try.
all those that are listening to us. And we're so glad because, I mean, so much negativity around the social media world, you know, so it is awesome to have a positive, you know, inspiring message to give to the people.
All right. So make sure if you're watching, share this video out. We're going to be talking for this hour and a half about anxiety. You know, what can you do to fix it? Are there things that you are doing in your life to cause stress? Are there things that you're doing in your life that cause anxiety, you know, worry? And these are things that you don't necessarily have to deal with. We're going to be talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa, how you can handle these situations in your life, how you can get better, live better, be better, feel better. So I'm excited to be learning about this because this is something that I think people don't realize there's a better way. You know, is there a better way? Curt, have you ever struggled or dealt with anxiety or stress or just the weight of the world is on your shoulders and nothing you can do, you know, makes you feel like you can escape it?
You know, I was in a situation last night where that was the case, where there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. I got an email last night that was like, put it a little over the top, and I was just like, really? We're going to add more? Okay, we got more. But anyways, I was like, oh man, I was kind of frustrated. But for me, it's usually like the anxiety and stress, and then I pray about it. And I said, you know what, God, just release this from me, and then it's gone. It's great.
So prayer, that's one option. You know, prayer can work, kind of changing your mindset. It's half the struggle, I suppose.
Could I throw out, it's even more than it can work. It will work if we just exercise it. You know, we were just talking about this at church the other day, that, you know, we don't reach, you know, to prayer first. We're not that culture that prays without ceasing. And I think that if we could help people realize that, you know, God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He hears your messages and hears your words. And, you know, the Bible says, you know, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, present your request to God. And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your heart, your mind, and your soul through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4, 6, and 7.
You know what the Bible also says, which is interesting?
Tell me.
Some things only leave with prayer and fasting.
That's okay.
Yeah, you know, and that has to do with your diet as well. And fasting like what?
Yeah, and so fasting from, it could be fasting from particular food additives or particular food substrates that are not, I mean, they're food. I mean, we sell them as food according to the laws of the land, but really and truly, if you have and consume make-believe food, the best you'll ever have is
believe
health.
Come on, y'all were a little slow this morning.
Well, you know, I was waiting for him. I was like, okay, he's going to start saying it.
He's got it.
And then he just...
I mean, I like try to pitch it down the middle.
Yeah.
I'm trying his new bang, and it's not making me any
What's
happier.
What's the flavor?
It's called Froze Rose.
Man,
ooh,
I'm just
let me
saying.
see that.
It's brand new. It's not hitting me like it normally does.
Kurt, this says Froze Rose.
I'm gonna try to figure out a way to create my own, like, you know, bang drink that y'all would, you know.
Oh, if you make a bang energy that's Chapa approved, I will drink it.
Hey, speaking of Chapa approved, so we talked to Sarah from Prepping Sisters, and she's serious about, I want to make the Chapa, you know, the diet stuff. So I think I'm going to drop off the guideline for the blue paperwork that you have.
Yeah, purple, yeah.
Yeah, the purple diet or hey, I don't know what it is.
It's my cleansing diet, yeah. But absolutely, and maybe you should put us together and let us brainstorm. I would love to have, you know, a help in creating, because what I've learned is, guys, if you've got a vision in your heart and you've got a passion you want or a message you want to get out to the world, sometimes you have to realize you're going to have to create a team of people that love and believe what it is that you do. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, there's no way that I'd be able to come here consistently every week on the radio and share my message if I didn't have a great team of people. So Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center loves their staff. We are so thankful for each and every one of them that support us at the front desk, in the back office, in the marketing department, as well as our clinicians that are, you know, have this idea and this vision too that we can get well without drugs and surgery. And that's what we stand for. We want to help you find the underlying cause of why your body's breaking down. And every symptom you have is a check engine light, guys. So it doesn't matter if it's a skin rash. It doesn't matter if it's a heart palpitation. It doesn't matter if it's anxiety. Whatever you're dealing with, whether it's real or imaginary, there is a sub, you know, understanding of what has to be done to change that reality if you want it to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So we use food as our first line of defense.
Food as defense, food as medicine. It's not the first thing that comes to mind. I always think of, going to the doctor, they write something down and slap it to you, and
That's right.
hopefully it'll fix everything. A wonder pill.
And that's only been around for about 60, 70 years, and to that point of, medicine in that form of delivery as I don't want to say as an idol, but as an idol approach to solving problems. But if you think about all of us are guilty. We want the path of least resistance. It's hard to diet change. It's hard to make food choice changes. And we don't realize, like what we opened up with, and that the power of our emotions. We don't realize. I had a fella come in yesterday, and he was speaking to, when we found that there was some sort of emotional stressor, and it's around food. And he goes, I just realized, I've never realized, this guy's like in his late 30s, and he says, I've never realized that some of my best memories with my family was with my food, was with around food, and that's why I have the old motto, comfort food, as a glitch, and why he struggles so much in the food department, always going to the things he shouldn't be doing and causing his body to fall apart too quickly.
Mine's late at night.
Like struggling to eat, or like you're like, man, it's late, I need to eat something, or what?
Yeah, it's late at night. I don't know where it came from, but that's definitely one of the things that I do as a comfort. I'm like, oh, I need food to go to sleep.
And so what do you typically reach for?
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
So watch this. Let's just try to play the game. So anybody that's listening to us out there, if you have an accessible mobile device and you're not driving down the freeway, because we don't want you to be texting and driving, but give us a thumbs up if you have this comfort food motto going in and around where you're reaching to sugary foods late in the day, in the evening, when you get home after a stressful day. And let's talk to that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, for you reaching, because what is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Let's just break it down. So the slice of bread converts into what?
Sugar. Because bread.
And it turns into a quarter of a cup of sugar. Which kind of bread do you buy?
I buy Sara Lee honey wheat bread.
Okay, at least the wheat.
Yeah. But and the way you want to look at that is you want to look at the label, and if it says enriched wheat flour, you want to find a different wheat bread. You want something that says whole wheat. If it says enriched wheat flour, that's an indicator that you're putting in a synthesized, manufactured bread that's not real. So we can find better breads that you could potentially use. Not that you want to put that sugar in, but if you're going to put it in, we'd rather it be real.
Less modified.
That's right.
I always eat the Mrs. Baird's. Like growing up, that's what I always had, Mrs. Baird's. Texas-made Texas bread. I just, that's just what it was, and that's what we use now.
And that's a lot of people will also say, all the marketing companies know that if they can get you consuming their product by 9 years old, you're hooked on it. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that if you're, I got to throw in the towel, I'm over 9, and so all my lifestyle habits are in place. I mean, to point, there's some truth to that being the reality, but that doesn't mean if you are on your way to diabetes that you shouldn't change your recipe. Mm-hmm. If you're on your way to heart disease, you don't need to change your recipe. Or if you have check engine lights of anxiety, depression, sleep challenges, then you shouldn't change your recipe. You're following a recipe, guys. And so then you look at the peanut butter. What kind of peanut butter do you
What brand of peanut butter, Kurt?
Usually it's like a Jif. I've really fallen in love with
fallen in love.
I've fallen in love with the Walmart brand.
Does your girlfriend know that you're falling in love with other
great
things?
Value.
The great value.
You fell in love with the price.
I have the chunky. I have to have the crunchy peanut butter.
So if you look at the ingredients on that, you're going to see partially hydrogenated oils and high fructose corn syrup. And so you basically,
I love those.
You might as well just put an infused, one of those infusers into your arm and just go ahead and pump sugar straight in.
Bam! What kind of jelly though?
So let's bring in the next piece. What's the kind of jelly do you
Is
get?
this the most important part?
Here's the bad. Here's
oh
the bad part.
You don't eat the jelly.
I don't eat the jelly.
Just the peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
But you said peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I know, because if I just said a peanut butter sandwich, people are gonna look at me
weird. Do you know
weird.
that Elvis Presley's favorite sandwich was?
Peanut butter sandwich?
No, it's not true.
A jelly sandwich?
No.
He had the blue suede shoe sandwich? I don't know.
Peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Ah.
Oh man,
at
I
least
like
there's
those
fruit,
in a
you know.
shake.
I mean, that
shit.
sounds pretty awesome. But
Right.
but just throw a little plug in there for Main Squeeze, guys. If you haven't been to Bay Area Boulevard to check out Jeff and his team over there, amazing crew of folks. Main Squeeze Juice Bar, and they have a protein shake that you can elevate. You can take half the banana, they'll put cauliflower in. You won't even taste it, so it's less sugar, still ever so wonderfully tasty. And then they'll put peanut butter or almond butter in it for you, and my goodness, it's heaven. But anyway, let's look at that comfort food. Like, we all reach to that, and the question we need to ask is why? Why do we reach to sugary foods in the evening? And that leads us into our conversation today. That's adrenals. That's a first sign that your adrenal glands are tired, worn out, fatigued, or needing nutrition. Did you have a question?
Well, no, it wasn't necessarily. It was just about honey. Ashley had brought up honey in the sandwich, and I remember being a kid too. Instead of jelly, putting honey in there with peanut butter.
Right.
Is that a better option?
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's a better option. But most people don't buy just a clean honey. What kind of honey do they get? Something that's processed, pasteurized.
with the cute little bear.
Yeah, with the cute little bear. And he is cute. We all love him. But at the end of the day, he is I don't want to say a rancid bear, but he's a dirty bear. We don't want that guy. And so you want to get a local honey from your local farmers and your local markets. And you guys have a partner that's over in Bay Area that has like a local market. Then we've got, Natural Living right up the street from my office in League City, who has local honeys. We sell a local honey, and you want local honeys because the pollens that you can get from that is low enough, but allows a delivery system where your body can treat it like a homeopathic does, a frequency medicine. And frequency medicine, what it has to offer our bodies is that it allows your body to deal with poisons in our environment without putting an onslaught of poisons in, and your body can recognize and say, oh, this is how I'm going to strategize that when it comes at me in the future.
What about Nutella?
And when you look at Nutella, let's look at the ingredients. Maybe y'all could pull it up and we'll break it down, but it's going to have high fructose corn syrup in it. It's going to have dairy products in it, so it is definitely not Dr. Chapa approved, and it is going to be a synthesized compound. So it's not going to be something of, in my opinion, value. It just tastes really good. I mean, and I've actually never even had it, but I see the look on people's face whenever we talk about Nutella, and you can see the same look when Curt just said, I'm falling in love with best value.
Okay. So looking at the ingredients, it says sugar, palm oil, hazelnuts, skim milk, cocoa, soy, something, word I don't know, as else, I don't even know. And then it's just a bunch of words I don't know. Contains tree nuts, hazelnuts, milk, soy.
And it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup?
Do you see any, Curt?
I see sugar, palm oil, hazelnuts, skim milk.
I mean, at least they're
artificial
using just
colors,
sugar.
artificial preservatives.
But there you go. So it's got artificial colors. It's got
it says no artificial colors, contains no artificial preservatives, gluten-free,
kosher dairy.
Kosher dairy.
Well, there you go. So, so they're trying. I mean, you got to give them some, but it's definitely not Dr. Chapa approved because the pasteurized, kosher milk that they're consuming it's still pasteurized, homogenized. It still has casein in it, and the palm oil's questionable, but at the end of the day, at least they're putting forth effort and not dropping high fructose corn syrup on you folks.
Putting forth effort. This is Christopher from Santa Fe Water Service. He said, "Good morning, guys. I've cut out sweet tea and I've increased my water intake by a lot." It's little decisions like that kind of add into the long run, right? Nutella's making an effort. You got to make an effort.
You got to make an effort. And guys, it's 1 degree of change. If you have absolutely the most processed diet in the world, you're not going to want my diet. But if we led you down a path that is, if you will, how do you eat an elephant 1 bite at a time? If we could make it digestible, if we can make it 1 degree of change.
Why are we eating elephants?
I mean, it just sounds good.
You got to eat the frog.
You got to eat the frog. How about that? It's better than maybe frogs. I don't know. It depends on if Louisiana
how
folks
it's
are in the
cooked.
house. Yeah,
how it's cooked.
Cooked frogs. But at the end of the day, that effort. So I want to say, when you're drinking extra water instead of the sugar, what you're doing is you're allowing your body to become hydrated. I had a patient, and I love this, guys. I had a patient yesterday call me on. She looked at me and goes, Dr. Chapa, I'm shocked. I said, what's going on? She goes, you're dehydrated. I said, no, I'm not dehydrated. And she goes, no, you're dehydrated. And she could tell in my affect. She could tell that what she's used to seeing in me wasn't there. And I said, well, hang on, let me think this out. And I looked at my water can and I go, oh, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm way behind schedule. And so if we make a point to drink adequate amounts of water every day, and I use the terminology 32 ounces per 50 pounds of body weight is your ideal goal. If you're at rest, that means if you're not exercising, if you exercise, you have to do more. But if you're not exercising, 32 ounces per 50 pounds of body weight will put you in the realm of balanced water intake, and that allows your body to be more electrically active. And so the cells in our body are like grapes. Who wants to eat pruny, yucky grapes?
Not me.
Nobody. But who wants fresh, plump grapes that pop whenever you put them in your mouth?
Right.
Everybody. And so that's what we're looking for. You want your cells to be plump and refreshed and electrically charged to get a message from point A to point B. When your brain says, move, arm, or move into this direction, or think this way, you want every cell to be in unison, because shared goals build unity, right? We want the body to have the vision of feeling good, living good, being good all the days of its life. And that can come through you just drinking more water. That could come through starting your day not on sugar, but on protein and fats. That could be you not ending your day on sugar and recognizing that that's a check engine light and a pattern for your body trying to reach for sugar for energy. And instead, what if we fed your body proteins and fats, and you had we gave you a little window in the afternoon where you could lift yourself with some carb of sorts, and we rearranged the way you eat throughout the day. And this would control the ups and downs roller coaster that people on. I call that the ups and downs diet. That's where your blood sugar shoots up really high and you're feeling all spunky and excited about life, and then you crash and burn, in the evening or in the mid-morning or the mid-afternoon, and you're like, how am I going to get through the rest of my day?
Coffee.
And then they reach the rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And then all we're doing is we're like whipping a horse here. And the horse doesn't like it no more than you want to be whipped. But that's what you're doing every time you put in the energy drinks and the coffees and the sugar and the processed, comfort foods. And if we could get people to start reaching to logs on the fire, so to speak, fats and proteins for a healthy, balanced sugar source, energy source, they wouldn't have the desire to reach for sugar. So I'm on an anti-yeast diet right now where I'm eating no sugar. And, the first 4 or 5 days, you can feel your cheeks like pulsating, wanting, craving, yearning for something else. Like, I'm just not satisfied. And you have to get through that window of time. And that's where, remember we brought in the herbs, Gymnema, and then I ruined y'all's Olympia grill.
Yeah, that wasn't nice.
Yeah.
Remember that.
That Gymnema has the ability to curb appetite. It has the ability to work with the beta receptors in the pancreas and allow that pancreas to balance blood sugar, and you won't crave stuff. Well, when you don't put in the sugar, when you don't put in the rocket fuel, your adrenals are saying thank you. And what are your adrenal glands? Those are your stress handling organ or gland systems that live just above your kidneys. They're like a little walnut-sized gland, but they're the first gland developed, and they're involved in epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline. So those are your fight or flight responses. They're involved in mineral balance, blood sugar balance. They're involved in all sorts of faculties that your body does day in and day out. If you get dizzy going, from lying to standing, or you squat down and stand up real quick and you kind of get loopy a little bit, that's an adrenal issue. And so your body is constantly communicating a message, but we are so disconnected that we don't recognize that the body is crying out for help.
Right now it's 9:05. This is KHEARadio.com. 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11 a.m. We're talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, located in League City, Texas, right off of 518, kind of near Highway 3. If you haven't had the opportunity to reach out to him, you can go to justlivewell.com, fill out some of the questionnaires.
That's right.
Get a head start, give his office a call, and you can learn a lot. So if you have a question, feel free to ask. If you're watching on Facebook, or you can text one in if you're listening on 99.5 FM. That's 346-704-1806. I see a question that was just asked, and it's about tea. So this is from Leslie. She said, what types of tea do you recommend for stress relief? Is that something you can do, kind of help calm yourself down?
Oh, yeah.
By tea?
Yeah, teas are herbs. And so we use herbs all the time to calm the nerve system. So like when I'm out of town, if I went out of town and I wasn't prepared to go out of town, or if I forgot some of my essentials that I take, like Adaptogrin, Mintran, Neviton, those are my kind of calming agents that I never leave home without, I would reach to teas. So, if we're, say, had to go to the grocery store, Celestial Seasonings, Yogi, these are some decent, herbal teas that you can grab hold of, and they have sleepy time tea, they've got relax tea, they've got chamomile tea, and some of these different teas that don't have the caffeine push are very calming in nature. So if you might say, well, I hate hot tea. Well, that's great. Put a tea bag in a 40-ounce glass of water, and just keep that marinated and percolating into that fluid. And then you're going to find that your body is more calm, cool, and collected because you're sipping on 40 ounces of herbal tea throughout the day, and it changes those folks out there that are like, I hate water. Well, come by to our office, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, get some Ultima, and that's electrolytes and minerals. But let's say that you're out and about, put a tea bag in your water, and it will change the water. It infuses those herbs in there, and you're going to get the therapeutic benefit as well as the calming effect and a taste change in your water where you can actually drink more water. And that's going to be a useful, piece of advice if you're trying to increase your water intake, because that is 1 degree of change. That's one simple step you can make, and if your body, you find it always wound up tight, like you're always on the verge of being short fused, or a little bit on that, you've got that slow percolating anxiety, like at any moment you can just shift right into an anxiety attack or a panic attack. Those are indicator lights that your adrenal glands aren't handling your stress well, and they're not handling your day-to-day environment well. And that could be from a structural imbalance, that could be from a biochemical imbalance, an emotional imbalance, that could be from poor quality food choices that you're putting in your body. And if we can get you to start recognizing, so we have you fill out a food log, and we show you, hey, we found, yesterday I was talking to a patient and she had belly pain. And it was 2 days after she had beans and cheese queso and something at a Mexican food restaurant. She had it 2 days in a row.
Keep going.
And
Can you say that again?
and she had tummy pains, and she goes, I never realized it before. So I've been doing the Dr. Chapa no dairy experiment, and she called it a theory, and I go, I know, one day it'll come factual for you, because she's starting to see that, oh man, like, the more I stay away from some of this stuff and I put it back in, the more my body is showing me that the symptoms come. I find myself more anxious. I find myself more short-fused. And when you have an irritated gut lining, you're going to be more short-fused and more anxious, and you're going to be more prone to having anxieties. You're going to be more prone to even having the extreme of it, which is what? Panic. And if you have those things, we have tools in our office, that minerals that can calm the body down. Mintran, it's a fantastic calcium magnesium balanced product that will allow you inside of 15 minutes to chill. It's like, it truly is a chill pill, and it's a really relevant use in today's society, especially with all the ADD kids running around, because their brain is just processing information so quickly because we're watching too many video games, and we're not getting active and burning off that excess energy. So their mind is racing, and they're processing information so quick that we have to dial the dial back, so to speak. Have you ever gotten to bed and you realize, I should be tired, it's the end of a day, but I'm wired up? Well, we don't realize that there are a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins, a lot of essential fatty acids that go into play the dials down so that your body will go into a sleep cycle. It's not as simple as just lay down and go to sleep. It should be, but if you find yourself staring at the ceiling, wondering why you're awake, if you find yourself, kicking the covers off midnight and staring at the ceiling, wondering why you're awake, if you find yourself more tired in the morning than when you went to bed, your adrenal glands aren't doing their job, and those adrenal glands are your key to getting healthy.
How do you get those back in order?
And so first and foremost, we start taking lifestyle approaches in conjunction with supplemental intervention. B vitamins, for example. The adrenal gland's #1 vitamin is vitamin C, which you don't manufacture in the body. So you get it from external sources, and we get it from where, guys? Citrus, right?
Citrus.
Yeah, very good. I knew you knew that, Kurt. And so vitamin C is a very powerful adrenal modulator. But we don't want to be consuming vitamin C at 500 milligrams and above. That has the exact opposite effect on your adrenal glands because it robs your body of, I'm going to use big words, tyrosinase, an enzyme, cofactors, bioflavonoids, vitamins P, K, and J, and it robs the potency of your adrenal glands' ability to perform. And so we come in there with food-based nutrients and different herbs, my favorite being ashwagandha and schisandra, to help rebuild the functionality of your adrenal glands. And so we have a product called adaptocrine that'll do that. And adaptocrine is by far one of my go-to nutrients when I'm restoring somebody's adrenals. And then I get them to start playing games. So we have a 17 Sleep Secrets page that maybe I get Ashley to pull up and post for you guys. But Sleep Secrets on how to fall asleep more effectively and what you should be doing. Things like don't go, turn your electronics off at 9 o'clock, like all electronics, TVs, cell phones, computers, and read a book, and turn the lights down in the house. Turn the temperature down in the house.
Put the coals underneath the bed.
That's right, the coal, because that's important. maybe a few weeks ago. But I have these ideas to help your body go into a natural sleep cycle. And then if you start getting 8 hours of sleep a night, that's really the kind of the gold standard. We want 4 to 5 sleep cycles a night at an hour-and-a-half interval. So that's about 6 to 7.5 hours. But 8 hours is really that place where people's body does some well checks. And if you have the luxury once a week, twice a week to catch up on sleep, that idea is important because your body rests and recovers in those deep REM sleep cycles.
Hey, Ashley said that my 21-day detox helped her so much with her adrenal issue. So you're welcome. I'm glad that I could help you out. No?
Your 21 days?
Yeah, my 21-day detox and cleanse.
You see, guys, this is how powerful doing a detox is. When you do a detox, you affect other people.
There you go.
Hey, Kurt, you have some issues going on that you want to talk about. And yesterday...
Yeah, we talked about check engine lights, right, earlier.
Oh, there's a check engine light going on. But yesterday, can you share what you had to do to avoid...
Well, we're on TV, right? We're in HD now. We're going to be going on channel 46.2 here shortly. I can't be sitting on camera with a big old Rudolph reindeer nose. So I looked this up.
Check engine light.
Check engine light, right?
Check engine
But I
nose.
told you about this before.
Let me turn
this happens every 2 months.
Let me do this.
It literally comes back up. What are you going to do?
I'm just going to shine some light on this bad boy.
Okay. So yesterday I had to put concealer on to cover the red nose.
Take your head off. And talk.
I had to put concealer on my nose because it was so red. So I did some research. This is what it is.
Research. Kurt's research. I'm excited.
Dr.
WebMD.
Google. Dr. Google's in the house. Wait a second. Oh, WebMD.
You're dying better.
Nasal vestibulitis or something like that.
I'd have to read it.
So it
because I'm pretty sure you didn't say your Latin right.
Red dot that shows up, but it's not a pimple. It's not anything that's being released. But they said it's from allergies or you pick your nose and it causes something to be affected in your nose.
Stop picking your nose.
I don't pick my nose, but you blow your nose.
At least pick a winner, Bobby.
I know.
I hang out with you a lot.
Can you take a look at this really fast? If I sat over there, would you be able?
You want me to pick your nose?
I don't want you to pick my nose, but I want you to look and see.
Let's take a look.
Come have a seat, boys. Let's see. So this is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11 o'clock. Kurt's dealing with his nose.
It's not a pimple because there's no
I think it might be a wart.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah, no, I got this. So if you're not watching on Facebook, you're missing out. Kurt has some serious check engine light stuff going on. Dr. Shab is gonna shine a flashlight on this bad boy, but it's looking at me hard right now.
If you look just in the right nostril, and if you look at where the redness is, there's a ton of mucus up inside this nostril. He's producing excrement.
Is that why he goes like this in the mic every 5 seconds?
He's sniffing. And he's pulling the snot rockets up into his launch pad, and he's going to blow it out after
right
the show.
into that little spot.
Here's the funny part, though. We did some looking up my nose the other day, and the right nostril is actually like more closed than the left nostril.
Yeah, so take and occlude the left nostril and breathe. You see how that sound? That's called the sniff test. And then do the same on the other side. And it sounds pretty clear. And so ish, right? And there could be, deviations up top. But here's what's going on. There is I can even see there's inflammation in the sinuses right under the eyes on the outsides of the nostril, the nose. And this is what I'll tell you it is. That it's infection. And it doesn't have anywhere to go. So I know it's not a pimple, it's none of that stuff. But what it is, it's your body expressing toxicity. Don't pick it. It's expressing toxicity.
Then why touch it?
Out of the skin and out of the nostril itself. Those are exit channels. Would you agree? Your pores are an exit channel.
Right.
Your nostrils.
So why does this happen every 2 months?
Because it's a reoccurring infection that your body can't deal with on its own, and we've got to do more what we call upper high lymph treatment to get the lymphatics to drain more effectively. And we use things like Spanish black radish, a very powerful tool. We use things like oregano, very powerful tool. Garlic, very powerful tool.
And spaghetti as well.
Yeah.
For both.
Put it all together.
But, think about it. The spices we have in we should be using these types of ingredients. And when we don't have food is medicine, is it not?
It is, yes.
And that's why the spices can be so powerful. But we need them in this case, a concentrated form, so we could start playing, the game of therapeutics with him and get food to truly help him. And then we take him off of things like milk, dairy, cheese, yogurt, sour cream, creamy dressings, as he's picking his nose and turning his head. No, I can't do that. And what happens is now all the lymph will start draining like they're supposed to, and his body won't push it out of the ears, eyes, nose, throat.
Ouch.
That's where the whole industry of ENTs came in, is because
so while it's like this, there's nothing I can do, right? Like I just have to wait?
No. You could start chewing up Thymex right now on the right side, and Thymex is a T-cell upregulator. It will support the thymus gland, and the thymus gland will turn on and upregulate the immune system and start cleaning out this area. You start consuming Spanish black radish, and it will drain the lymphatics so that this stuff starts going out, and you might start seeing improvement inside of 30 minutes where you go, wow, like that stuff really tasted bad, but like I can tell my nose is drier and I feel like I'm clearer, so to speak, whenever I breathe in and out of my nose. Do you snore at night?
I don't think I snore.
Right? Did your ex-wife tell you that you snort at night?
I don't remember.
Did your ex-wife snort at night? Maybe y'all both snored in unison or something, so it's all good.
But in this case, I would say what I would do too, and then topically, because you're in pain, you have some sensational issues there, I would put peppermint oil on it. I'd put lavender on it. I'd put some of the eucalyptus on it and make a little essential oil cocktail. I use this stuff in my office called USF. It's called ultra saturated fatty acids. And when you have the ultra saturated fatty acids with some of these oils, it'll come right into that tissue and soothe the heat, because the redness is inflammation. And inflammation is a check engine light that we've got to get calmed down.
You know what? I think it may be time for another detox. It may be another time, time for a cleanse for Curt.
I mean, I'm all for it if he was up for it. Let's look at this. Open wide.
Maybe we
Curt?
can talk about that, because with Sarah, with Prepping Sisters, maybe making life easy.
Stick your tongue out.
And we would be able to figure that out.
And I also see he's got quite a bit of yeast on that tongue and some digestive.
It's like green.
And it was like yellow. It was like a fur. And
Put it back in your mouth.
Is there a cat in your mouth?
You do have a cat, but are you allergic to cats?
Yes.
But you have a cat.
Yes.
Did he pick you?
I picked him.
Oh, okay. Well,
her.
Okay.
Yesterday she was scratching at the mirror. It was really cute. I posted it on my Facebook page. She walked up to the mirror and was going like this. It was cute. Anyways,
so
besides the point.
The long and short of it is we know Allerplex could be used, but we've got to go a little deeper. So that's just one avenue we could take when we're looking at immune burdens, is we look at bacterial patterns of challenge that the body deals with. And look, infection is the number one driver of all persons aging too quickly. You have a subacute, subclinical infection. If you go to the medical doctor and they say your blood work's fine, Susie Q, but yet beyond a shadow of a doubt, you've got some sort of thyroid symptom pattern. You can look it up, and it is like you got the hair loss, you've got the weight gain, you've got the loss of eyebrow hair, you got the that feeling of fatigue and tiredness. But the blood work says you're normal. Guess what?
You're normal.
You're not.
wait.
You're not.
Oh.
You're not pathological. You're what I would call functionally ill. So in the functional medicine world, where we come in is we're listening and looking at those blood panels and listening to your symptom patterns and your history, and we can figure out where your body is breaking down and help you understand what you can start doing immediately, right then and there, diet-wise. And what we would start looking at is evaluating a food log. If you can name a thing, you can control a thing.
Jeez. What'd you eat last night? I'll tell you right now, you ate a hot dog with the weenie in it. You ate like a weenie with the tortilla, like taco.
I did a taco.
Is it legal to put tortillas and wiener dogs together?
You know, sometimes it's like that.
good.
Sometimes it just has to be like that, you know?
I called it my, I still have a week until my next paycheck taco diet.
You gotta come.
I thought it was hilarious.
Dude, we had tacos yesterday as well, but I had a taco salad, and we just crock-potted some turkey. You should have come over.
I should have.
But you said that you were stressed out.
I have a lot of work.
He stresses me out, too.
And I bet you. So I looked in the mouth, and there's yeast in the mouth.
I saw
There's
this
boogers.
is the worst time.
There's boogers
okay, so
in his
I woke
nose.
up. I woke up at 7:58 this morning. Like I didn't set an alarm last night.
Yeah, you're wearing a hat.
My
We can
I
always
know.
tell.
goodness.
So I had to be here
Did you
by
even
8
brush your
o'clock.
teeth?
No.
Oh my
This is like the
gosh.
worst time for you to be. That's why I
Dr.
like
Chopper.
barely opened my mouth. I didn't want to like blow you away without
I'm
my
shocked. I'm shocked here.
my toothbrush and mouthwash mouth that I forgot. Didn't have time to do, so I could get here by 8 o'clock.
You were here by you're late every day,
It was
Kurt.
still 8:10.
You're late every day. You know what was not? Kurt is late every day. Is there some kind of supplement we can give him to get him to work on time? Like maybe if he started going to sleep better.
Rebuild his adrenal glands. But let's answer Christy Hall. Christy, I'm so glad you tuned in. You're an amazing vessel. I know you love the Lord. She's also I believe the founder of Crunchy Mamas, and she's just an amazing human being. And so, Christy, God bless you. And she says, is it true that to heal the adrenals, a person has to work on their kidneys first? Absolutely not. Could you work on your adrenals, your kidneys first? You could, but absolutely not. You can go directly in. When I was a student in my doctorate program, and I'd go to a seminar, doctors would walk up to us students and go, "Oh, you're a student," and they would, show us how to test the adrenals out. There's all kinds of functional tests you can do, and they would test our adrenals and be like, "Oh, you need this. Oh, you need this," and it's always adrenal support. And they say, you have adrenal issues because you're a student. Well, I would say that same conversation is if you're a mom, you have adrenal issues. If you're a dad, you got adrenal issues. If you live in the 21st century, guess what?
If you're alive,
you
yeah.
got adrenal issues.
Wow.
80% higher stress now than ever. I think actually I'm lying. It's, the stat was 30%. But I mean, I'm telling you, the way people come into my office and every conversation, I can ask the simple question on a 0 to 10 scale, how high is your stress? And everybody says it's a 7, 8, 9, or 10.
You know what Kurt told me yesterday? And this has a little bit to do with stress, but he was like, man, can you imagine being North? And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, being like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's kid, you don't have to worry about anything. And I guess sometimes we get so stressed out. He's just like thinking about like, man, but like even those people are stressed about situations.
And that's the thing is they have different stress.
Yes.
Everybody, whether you have nothing to lose or you have lots to lose or you got reputations to defend or whatever, I mean, there's stress.
Yes.
And we can't get away from it. We are, because of technology, because of there's like an earthquake gremlin going on back
A little bit.
so there is this stress is all around us, and so we have to recognize that we have to play by a different set of rules than we had to play whenever life was a little bit slower and we weren't so connected. I remember when I was in my doctorate program, I took a week and went up to North Carolina and spent a week in Asheville, North Carolina with a friend of mine, and it was, he told me, he goes, North Carolina, where he was 7 years behind where Houston is. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, literally, it's 7 years behind. I mean, life was just slower. People just didn't freak out about stuff. Now, it might be different now that technology and, Wi-Fi is as potent in that community as it is anywhere else in the world these days. But that's the cost of technology. Technology is a blessing, and it's a cost. And the cost is we look at these things, day in and day out. These are our electronic leashes. We can't walk around without having them in our hands, or we feel naked. We can't not check our emails every 15 to 20 minutes.
I'm gonna check mine now.
So, and the reality is if we would stop checking your email first thing in the morning, that's the worst thing you could do. Or Kurt, no offense, maybe all of us should take note and don't check your email after 9 o'clock. I mean, at the end of the day, assuming it's not an emergency, and if it's an emergency, hopefully they got a better means of communication than an email. They can wait. You know what I mean? And I do take emails late in the night, and I was actually responding to some past my hour of sleep, and I was a little wound up. But I did a little bit of a late night workout last night because I was feeling spunky, and my blood flow was just up, so it just took me a little bit longer to wind down. Those are all, again, a cost. I stressed out my adrenals later in the day, and my adrenaline was a little bit higher, and it took me a little bit longer to wind down. Now, I should have and could have taken some minerals, but I was in a happy, good mood, and I knew I didn't have to be up at 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right now, it's 9:27. This is KHEA.com, 99.5 FM. Share this video out. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. If you have any suggestions, maybe something you do to help relieve stress, maybe something you do to help manage every day, every week, manage even this year, something new that you've tried. I see Steve said, walking 3 miles a day helps me greatly. Jewel said, I have 6 kids. My stress is at a 10. Is there anything that you have found helps you out?
So I would say no doubt about it. You ought to be calling my office, 281-554-8600, and ask them to send you my little stress protocol. It's adaptocrine from a company called Apex Energetics. It's Neviton from a company called MediHerb, and Mentran from a company called Standard Process. And we can get those out to you. And I'm telling you, you will notice a difference. And the reality is you have 6 kids. I mean, and I don't know how old they are, but let's just say that they're all under 13. They're a handful. And as much as I love my 4, they want us to be on point, on demand, always, and sometimes it's hard to get those breaks throughout the day. And as a mother, I'm not a mother, but as a mother, I find that most mothers don't take care of themselves. Y'all put yourselves on the back burner and you run yourselves into the ground, and that's step 1. Put your oxygen mask on first. Give yourself permission to be a patient and be good to yourself. We are so hard on ourselves as parents, especially, the moms out there. You guys are I don't want to say perfectionists, but you'll have this unrealistic expectation of perfection, and that is a stress in and of itself. And I'm just speaking to what I see in clinic, so I'm not dogmatically saying every woman is this way, but there is a stereotypical demand that the woman's got to have all these ducks in a row. And I think there's a social stress, expectation stress, that is creating unrealistic, unnecessary stress that you're carrying day in and day out. And if you don't ever give your body a release, so the gentleman that's walking 3 miles a day, hey, that's fantastic. Let's see if we can get our spouses, our wives to, or girlfriends or whatever, to go on a mile walk or 2 mile walk and de-stress, because we are all faced with some kind of stress. And when it is above a 7, you're in what we call reactionary mode. And when that stress is not relieved, that's whenever you deplete your body to a point of anxiety. You deplete your body to a point of depression. You deplete your body to a point of panic. And so if you look at even the sex hormones in our bodies, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, and the female feel this more than the males because their cycles fluctuate more dramatically month to month. And if you're too high on your stress ride, you're anxious. If you're too low, you're depressed. If you're up and down, you're like a roller coaster, don't know how you're going to feel each hour, each day, each moment. But who holds you in the balance? And it's your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands hold the body in a balanced state, minerally, blood sugar wise, adrenaline, norepi, fight or flight wise, resting and digesting wise, being able to fall asleep. And the adrenal glands are a key ingredient. So I have probably 25 products in my office that can support the adrenals in some capacity, because there's no one product for every. So sometimes I throw out little protocols, and it sounds like that's just a cookie cutter, and it's not. But when you find something that works 95% of the time, you use it over and over again. And I'd rather have something that I can go to and say, hey, at least do this. If you got 6 kids and you can't, get over to the office regularly, which I really encourage you, come in, let us check you, test you. Let's have that moment where we can at least strategize a plan to make the next 3 months better than the last 3 months. Because at any point in any given part of your day, any part of your week, any part of your month, any part of your year, you're choosing whether or not you want to be healthy through the lifestyle choices you're making. Whether you feel like they're real, choices, forced choices, or involuntary because you're just going through patterns of I'm doing what I know how to do, not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I want to get people to start doing what they want to do, which is to get them to put their oxygen mask on first, heal thyself. That's what the doctors say is doctor first, heal thyself. Therefore, you can be a vessel of light to those in need. And that's where I'm at. So I want to be a vessel to everybody that needs us.
It's 9:32. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Okay, now it's 9:32. You're listening to 99.5 FM, KHEA Radio, KHEARadio.com. We are streaming live right now on our Facebook page. A lot of people are tuning in because we are announcing the winners of the crawfish that we dropped a week ago from Fob on Me Bistro and Grill, and we're going to be making that announcement later in the show. Dr. Chopper, you've talked about crawfish before, and you had a phrase of how you should eat crawfish and when you should eat crawfish. What was that about?
So I don't actually quite remember the phraseology that I might have used.
You said something about like if it ends in a Y or something like that. If the month ends in Y.
No, that's oysters. Oysters. That's very good. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was crawfish.
Yeah, that's oysters. So yeah, if the month ends in a Y, those are the months that you want to eat crawfish.
Kurt, this is about 4 minutes of my life that I can't get back.
It's been one. It's been one. It's 9:33.
If you're from the swamp country, you're gonna eat crawfish every point of any given point of the day, month. It doesn't matter.
When you find
them. Do you eat crawfish?
I personally don't eat crawfish much. I do like crawfish, but not as much as most people. And it might very well be that we oftentimes use spices that have MSG and partially hydrogenated oil. So it makes my body swell and gives me a little bit of a headache, and I don't love it. But it's the spices more than it is the crawfish. But crawfish typically are your bottom feeders, right? I mean,
right.
They're the roaches of the sea.
What do they eat?
And they just eat all
algae and.
I mean, they eat whatever. They're scavengers. They eat whatever nobody else wants.
Kind of like us.
Yeah, and not like we should.
Oh,
maybe like Curt and Gardy.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah, that's right. But y'all do get lucky. I mean, y'all eat some really pretty fine dining. When y'all go surfing around town and getting free food. I think that y'all's. I'm figuring you guys out. That's how you keep Curt fed, right?
Yeah,
we can till the next paycheck. Yes,
that's right.
Diet.
Yeah, when you get the tortilla with the weenie inside. Yeah, there's a crawfish giveaway. It is that time of year. It's that time of the season where the crawfish are starting to get big. They're starting to get plump. They're starting to eat right, and we got to take care of them. If we don't eat them, who will? If not now, when? If you don't win this giveaway, you still have the opportunity to go check them out. It's Fob on Me Bistro and Grill. They're located right in that HEB shopping strip over there where that 646 overpass used to be on the west side of I-45. Let us know if you've been. We've seen a lot of feedback. People have been saying, yes, I've gone. Yes, I've gone back. It is nice because it's a little bit different than, Cajun traditional spicy, but it's like a Vietnamese style seasoning. Talking to them, they don't use MSG in any of their products, and it's all good and it tastes delicious. So we're going to be announcing those winners here in a bit. I think closer to 10 o'clock. But if you have any questions or you've been, let us know. We're talking about health. We're talking about being well with Dr. Aaron Chapa.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you guys are tuning into the Facebook page and want to listen, and you're listening for your name, go ahead and just drop your name in the comments so that we know that you're here. We love seeing the names show up and then looking at the winners that we already have selected and making and seeing if that happens or not. Like if you're watching and your name is called, it's really kind of cool for us. So drop your name if you're watching and wanting to win the crawfish.
Okay, I dropped my name. My name is Gardy, and don't autocorrect to Grady. So yeah, I'm watching, and I'm hoping I win this crawfish.
Autocorrect to
Grady.
Grady, yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
You know, it's always interesting, that our phones think it's smarter than we are.
Well, sometimes.
I mean, sometimes you're thankful, and a lot of times you're like, oh, the autocorrect.
Yeah.
And but anyway, well, I just say, it is amazing to me how excited people get about food. I mean,
28,000 views in a week.
I mean, and food's powerful medicine, guys. And so, could you imagine if people got that excited about broccoli? Crickets. Did you hear that? There was crickets.
I guarantee if we dropped a video giving away free broccoli, that video would get like
2 views.
2 views.
You may get some views.
Are you going to give us some broccoli to give away?
I don't know. We ought to do an experiment. I believe all of our Facebook fans would chime in and promote something of a. What is your favorite vegetable? As you're putting your name in for this giveaway on the crawfish, also list your favorite vegetable. I want to see, what is it that people like? Do you know that the average American right now only consumes 1 to 3 vegetables per week?
1 to 3?
Well, okay. And a lot of them still think corn is a vegetable.
I had cilantro and
it's not.
Cilantro's not a vegetable?
No, cilantro is an herb.
Okay, well, I also had some tomato, onions, and I had, some pico de gallo on my taco last night. So does that count? It's vegetables, right?
I mean, technically.
Making the pico de gallo.
And
jalapeno.
Hey, Logan says she loves broccoli.
Asparagus. We got a couple of broccolis.
Totally dig that.
Brussels sprouts are good. I do enjoy Brussels sprouts.
Oh, asparagus, great for your kidneys.
Green beans.
Brussels are fantastic metabolic foods. Thanks, Tiff. I'm so proud of my wife right now. I want to just give her a little shout out. She's doing the Main Squeeze 6-day detox juice feast, and she is, she came to the point where she has day one. She was like, I'm really hungry, like I'm struggling, and I just drink another juice. Well, they said only 5. It's okay. We'll go buy you another juice. Drink another one. And that's what you have to know how to play the game, right? And listening to the body. And I've done this so many times myself. I kind of get it. But day 2, she did really well. And so now she's at the place where she's, I don't want to say bored. She's just bored with like the food. Like when food has no emotional impact on you, that's when you know that you own the food, not the food owning you.
Should we do another 21-day detox?
Dude, I've got people right now doing 21-day detoxes because spring break just happened and everybody fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
And so when everybody falls off the wagon, guess what we do?
Get back on the wagon.
We get back on the wagon. And people go, oh, and some people, feel that I'm a big supplement guy. Right? And the reason I'm a big supplement guy is because I have mentors that have been doing this 35 and 40 years, and they have fruit on the tree, so to speak. They are in their 60s, mid-60s, and they look like they're 48. One of the guys was just watching Glenn Keuchel. This guy is awesome. I mean, he just is the epitome of like good aging. Like he's doing the good work to take care of his body and to take care of his lifestyle, and he implements that into his family life, and his wife's a great herbalist and nutritionist, and they're just brilliant family that have adopted these practices and principles, and they're capturing good health 2 generations, their own and for their future generation, their son. And so this is the game that we all get to play. And when I watch these guys live, they drink good water, they eat good food, they take good supplements, and what I've found is I want to live long and fully functional in spirit, mind, and body all the days of my life. And if this is what it takes, I'm willing to do what it takes. And some people go, oh, I just don't want to do that. I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, but how's it working for you not doing it? Because you might find you've got a condition. You might find that you're on 2 or 3 medications. You might find that you're 10 pounds heavier than you want to be. You might be experiencing thyroid issues or headaches, or you might be one of these people we've been talking about all morning that are dealing with palpitations and anxieties, or you're struggling with sleep. And if we can get in there and stir you up and wake you back up and help you realize that you're in control. If the dude don't move, the dude don't groove. If we get you grooving again, you're going to be living your best life, and people are going to be, it's going to be contagious. People are going to see that $1 million asset, your smile. They're going to see the energy that you're putting forth on the job. and you're going to feel alive and vibrant all your days. And that's what the game's about.
I saw a couple of comments on here about like people are dropping their favorite
They're excited.
vegetables. Which is
I
awesome.
love it. I love it.
They dropped more vegetables than they dropped their name about the crawfish.
Go.
Anyways,
hey, I just want to say, like. I'm so fired up. Y'all have made my day.
Share
Sweet.
this video out if you're really excited. If you really like vegetables, share this video.
I was gonna say one of the vegetables that I fell in love with last week. We had a bunch of spinach, and I put some Kerrygold butter in the pan, put the spinach in there, sprinkled some Cajun spices on top of it, and I fell in love with spinach. I don't think I've ever tasted spinach that was so good, and it was a good combination. It became probably one of my favorite vegetables to have now is spinach with Kerrygold butter and Cajun spices.
I mean, and how easy is that? And you just throw it in a pan, or do you eat it raw? How do you do
Saute
it?
that bad boy.
I sauteed
bad
it.
boy?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it takes
yeah.
what, like 5 minutes?
It was awesome.
I mean,
it was great. It was a bunch of spinach, and it turned out to be like nothing
I
afterwards.
know, but it's powerful
Yeah.
nutrients in that little bit of few bites that you just gobbled up.
I saw that this question's now been asked like twice, so I just want to make sure that it gets answered. Leslie asked, does insurance cover the services you provide as preventative care?
Oh, I wish it did. Some people can get their insurance to cover stuff. We don't take insurance because insurance really doesn't support preventative medicine. Now, they don't realize that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If we could get people if we could rechange one thing, and we could get people to start the insurance companies to support what it is that we're doing in the preventative realm, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have less sick days. We're going to have more energy days, and I think that's going to drive production, and that's going to drive a healthier, more vibrant community, and we're going to be more excited about life, and we're going to be good to each other. We're going to smile at each other. We're going to wave instead of wave the bird, you know? I mean,
Driving road rage, yeah,
the
it's
road
gone.
rage is going to go down. I'm telling you, it's amazing what food can do.
No, I got something that just blew
Come
my
on,
mind,
let's
and I
do
got to
it.
talk about it. It's
I
about
want-
vegetables, and
I'm
this is from
excited.
Scott. He said, I boil broccoli and Brussels sprouts with my crawfish. I have not had the opportunity to try that, but that sounds like it would be really good.
Scott, well, I want to be invited to your crawfish.
We wanna
boil.
go
You
to the
sound like
boil.
somebody
Scott was
I
so
need to hang
excited
out
I
about
want
with.
to go to the boil.
Scott was so excited about the crawfish that he called us out. You know, on the video, we usually say when we're going to announce the winners.
Yeah.
And we didn't. And Scott called us out on that. He goes, you guys didn't tell us when you're going to announce the winners. And so,
Whoopsie.
Sorry,
Whoopsie.
Scott.
I do like
Hey.
mushrooms in there, and that's the only
I was about to
vegetable I've
say,
had. Like mushrooms in the
Mushrooms
crawfish.
are so good. They have an immune effect,
Ugh.
deep-rooted immune effect, and they can taste a little funny at first. But you realize if they are done well, you can mix those into many different cocktails and dishes, and you won't realize that you're eating mushrooms. But mushrooms have a very pungent, powerful effect on our immune system, and so it should be a valued tool to bring in, especially in this moldy environment we've got going on with all the wet weather we've been having, and we're still recovering from that. And then we had all the chemicals in the air a few weeks last week or something, and so every time we turn around, there's always some reason I can make a case that we can start incorporating better food into our bodies so that it can have a better effect on our ability to detox, on our ability to heal and regenerate, our ability to heal and repair, and make our lives more vibrant. And at the end of the day, your body, if it isn't doing what you want it to do, it's a check engine light. There's symptoms going on in your body, and we've just got to change the diet. We've got to change the habits of your day in and day out living choices, and you will find, I'm telling you, wouldn't it be cool if for like a whole month we had like 50,000 people that just committed to eating 6 to 11 servings of vegetables a day, cooked, steamed, grilled, kicked around on the ground, however they can get them in,
Boiled with crawfish.
boiled with crawfish, and I bet you would see a shift in the energy, in the overall level of consciousness that we all put into this living together.
Lauren just said, chop mushrooms super small and mix in your taco meat, and your kids have no idea.
See, and let me tell you,
a good
Lauren
idea.
knows. Lauren is a master at hiding food into stuff. with
Hopefully her kids aren't listening right now.
They're
No,
like,
that's-
what
that's-
happened?
Yeah. They're like,
What, Mom? What? Kurt,
what is this?
we need her to cook for Kurt.
Conspiracy.
So the other thing she said, I can't tell you the last time my kids have been to the modern medicine doctor. I'd rather pay
Modern
my copay
medicine.
to Chapa, who keeps us out of that place. So that's the prevention we were mentioning earlier. I think next time,
Thank you, Lauren. That's amazing.
next time that we go to a place when they're going to boil crawfish, I may bring my own Brussels sprouts. I may bring my own broccoli, and we know a couple of the restaurants around here, and they probably would let us do that just to try it as an experiment.
By the way, going back to an earlier comment, you were talking about like just how like if we all started eating better and living better, we might like smile and wave at each other. The one thing that I remember growing up that my dad used to do and that I did when I lived in a small town is you always did the 2-finger like on the steering wheel, like two fingers up, right? So I was doing that, and someone was in my car and they were like, will you stop distracting the other drivers? And I'm like, I'm literally like waving. You guys in Texas don't do that to other cars as you pass by?
Time out. Who told you that you were distracting the other drivers?
My girlfriend. She said, stop distracting the other drivers. And I'm like, I'm just waving hi to people. You don't do that in Texas?
Well, you do it with your neighbors, not with like, if it's around your house
car.
neighbors.
And when I grew up,
he's down I-45.
Every car.
Like, hey, are you serious?
Yes, I do this to everybody.
I've never seen anybody do that.
I've seen people do that. Like, you just kind of give a little wave.
I see motorcyclists do that.
Oh, yeah, they give the thumbs up or like the down.
They chunk a deuce or whatever they're doing. And I thought that was just, or Jeepers do that.
Yeah.
People in the Jeeps.
He's probably doing it to people with Jeep compasses, and they're just like, what is this guy doing? But it's a Jeep compass thing. And they're like, that's not a Jeep.
I do it to every car. That's what you do. But see, in a small town, Nebraska, when you only have like 10,000 people in your community, you know everybody, but you can also like every street you're like right next to the other cars, so you can wave.
Hey, this is cool. Ashley said on our Facebook comment thread, she said, I'm in the HEB parking lot writing my grocery list, and this show is helping me make healthier choices. So whenever you're inside there,
tell them KHEA Radio.
Tell them that we sent you.
And
that I don't work there, because people, Kurt used to think I worked there. I wish I did.
I'm telling. We should still do a show where we go through. I can get us over at Irma's Nutrition Store. We could go through there as a little,
what if we did an entire show and live from there, like on one of these Tuesday shows?
Absolutely.
We went to the grocery store. We did it live, and we actually took the mobile camera and live on location, and we shopped.
I mean, that would be so much fun.
Let's do it.
I would be game for this.
Chop a talk on location.
On location.
Alicia said she loved the idea of chopping up the mushrooms. She said her boyfriend hates mushrooms. She's gonna see if he notices. Is that a little cruel?
Man, people are gonna hate us.
Alicia, that's like, brilliant.
They're gonna hate us.
Listen, this is how you get sometimes. So if you even talk to Jeff over at Main Squeeze, he said he hated vegetables forever, but when he launched into this Main Squeeze journey and opened this business, he started juicing. And that's how he started loving vegetables. And now he has a very robust palate. He's good with the textures. He's good with, the food that he used to hate with a passion. And I think therein lies the point. If we can get our bodies to develop the bitter palate, if we can get away from the sugar, away from the salt, and develop the bitter palate, we will always love the sweet and the salts. So if we have the robust sour and the bitter, we will develop the savory, and we will appreciate all aspects of our that food has to offer us through texture and through taste and through nutrition.
Kurt's cracking up over here. I think he was either trying to tag the owners of Main Squeeze, or he was trying to tag Alicia's boyfriend to tattletale that she's chopping up mushrooms in the burgers. Be like,
no, leave Alicia alone. She's got an agenda, and you got to report back to us next week and let us know if you were able to sneak it in. Remember, Lauren said to chop them up small. And maybe we can even get Lauren to post a picture.
I had to chop up a mushroom the other day because we ordered HelloFresh. We got some HelloFresh free stuff. We got some coupons to get some free ones, and then we actually got charged for more. And I'm like, no. Anyways, we had to chop up some mushrooms. I've never seen a mushroom before, and I even chopping them up. I was maybe.
Whoa! You've never seen a mushroom before? Like you've never cooked with one, or
right? I've never I had to pull the stem out or something. I don't know.
Do sauteed mushrooms.
I had to look up how to cut a mushroom. I YouTubed how do you slice a mushroom.
Hey, if any of y'all that are going to be chopping up these burgers, mushrooms,
let's post it.
Yeah, post it, but bring some to me. I mean, what, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you, be like, I can't taste it. He needs more mushrooms. Or like, hey, it's perfect. I can't taste it at all.
Man, there was a couple of these HelloFreshes. I was like, oh, this is Choppa approved, and then it's got cheese, and I was like, nah, I can't post that.
You have to realize that most of the time we always throw cheese on everything because it's just what doesn't go good with cheese, right? I mean, but we have to understand that cheese is mucus forming, cheese is pasteurized and homogenized. cheese is filled full of infection and pus. Cheese is not our friend. And I'm sorry, like, if you don't agree with that, I've just seen it 13 years. And I've had people that have spent $20,000 and $30,000 trying to find out how to fix their problems, and it literally came down to a food. And dairy is in the top 2, if not the top. And it is amazing to me that when we consume simply a food, and sometimes in small proportion. I mean, think of like the creamer in your coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that much. I mean, assuming that you use only that one little thing, but that pasteurized, sugar-fied, processed junk that we put in there is having a negative impact on your overall energy and your well-being and your body's output and productivity, and it's slowing your system down. And I have seen something as small as an inoculation like that cause 2 to 3 days of somebody suffering. Well, if you did that on Monday and you did that again on Thursday, well, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are now affected negatively, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are now affected negatively. And so now you're going through your week less efficient, less productive, less energetic, less smiley than you would have been. And what if that cost you your job? What if that cost you a relationship? What if that cost you, an amazing memory?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I would just want to challenge to the idea that, food is medicine, and we can help people at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. This is what we do, is we give people alternatives to drugs and surgery, and we talk about food is medicine, and we talk about building a new you in the 21st century. And if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, I'm telling you, you're missing a huge piece. Somebody told one of my patients the other day, so-and-so nutritionist doesn't believe in detoxification. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. Why? Because I don't think that the food can really have that effect. Well, I'm sorry, that's just not how the chemistry works. I mean, these are proven concepts that when you take in cruciferous vegetables, Brussels sprouts, cauliflowers, broccolis, and you bring these things in, it can help your body rid itself of excess estrogen. Whenever you take in, the asparagus, that it cleanses the kidneys. Why wouldn't food regenerate us? I mean, by definition, in Webster's, the Big Red Webster's dictionary, it says food is to regenerate, repair, nourish, and strengthen and energize our cells. So let's get back to food is medicine and reach to stop reaching towards the foods that drive inflammation. That's wheat, dairy, corn, soy, and avoid the 4 deadly food additives, which are what, guys? High fructose corn syrup, artificial sugars, partially hydrogenated oils, and MSG.
Mm-hmm.
So if we stay away from the 4 most common food allergies and the top 4 most common food additives, it makes it easier to break the addiction to sugar. And Nancy Appleton had a great book, Lick the Sugar Habit, and she's got in there 146 or 156 different ways that sugar can influence and ruin your health.
Have you guys seen on YouTube, speaking of licking, those videos where
I try not to look at those videos.
Where they like have like a microphone and they're like trying to make all these noises and like they're like licking the microphone and people are like tuning in.
Disgusting.
They're like,
then you got
they
somebody
like
else
show like
coming in.
noises and people like actually tune in and watch. They're like, ooh, noises. It sounds so good.
Are they good at like mimicking sounds or something?
They're actually making those sounds, but it's like a high intense microphone that picks up the sounds really, really well. And I don't know, Netflix did an entire like docu-series about how we enjoy the sound of things and that we want to hear the sound of things.
Like the crunch of a cucumber in your mouth?
That would be the one that you would watch. Dr. Choppa sitting at home before 9 o'clock, because obviously we can't have 9 o'clock.
That's right.
Phones have to be off.
That's right.
Is that okay? Because I would say like sight, touch, taste, and then sound. Those your senses and all that.
But I mean, we have a tendency in like little kids, right, to put a spoon in their hand or a fork in their hand, and they've done studies. You should let the kid reach into the pile of food and just slaver it all over their face and make the mess, because they're developing a relationship to eating and they're feeling what it feels like to bring that food to their face, to feel it on their skin. Now, assuming that they're eating real food, we shouldn't put anything on our skin that we can't consume. And you surely don't want your kid putting fake food on their face. Remember, the best thing you'll ever have if you eat make-believe food is what?
Make-believe health.
That's right. Good job. And so somebody's got a question here about organic cheese. Is it the same as well? Yes. Organic cheese in the stores is still pasteurized. It's still homogenized. And when we consume pasteurized and homogenized milk products, it is going to be denatured. It's going to have the same issues that the regular milk would have, or cheeses that would not be organic. It's just now they're giving you an organic, pasteurized, homogenized, maybe less adulterated, but still nonetheless, your body's already seen the damage of casein in the body, and that level of inflammation drives the body to sickness and disease. And so that's what we've got to help people realize is that, milk, cheese, yogurt, sour cream, ice cream, whey protein is not your friend. It's not a superfood. It's a food that leads to what I call mistake colossal. It will destroy your health. And we don't want you to get caught up in that, that rut, so to speak.
Yeah, there's so much life left to live. There's always there's always a reason. And sometimes if you feel like there isn't a reason, you got to find your reason. Earlier in the show, we started talking about, depression, anxiety, and just like how you can break that, and, prayer and just like reaching to God. Those are all things that can help in those situations.
Well, I mean, and so I'm always go back to this idea that, all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is the fundamental backbone that allows your body to get traction and get healthy, or allow your body to slip off the slippery slope and get unhealthy. And I want people to grab hold of this. Like, you are in more control of your health than you realize. You can drink more water today. That's easy. You can drink less sugar. You can put Brussels sprouts and asparagus with your crawfish. You can make every meal better by adding, a nourishing nutrient to it. And if you don't like vegetables, man, you could pick bacon and wrap it around asparagus. If you never really had asparagus, and you'll be like, oh, bacon and asparagus is amazing, right? Yeah. If you saute onions finely chopped and you mix those with, shredded or chopped Brussels, or do what, Curt was talking about, take your favorite Cajun spice and mix it with, Kerrygold butter and spinach, and you're changing the dynamic. Squeeze some lemon on it too next time, and it'll change it yet again. And you'll get another level of flavor out of your spinach. And that's another game-changing idea, to get your body acclimated to these new foods that you're putting in. To me, I have to always remember that I'm good at this food thing. Like, I've been doing it since I've been 15, and do I have bad days? Sure. But I have a bad meal here and there. Most of the time, I am on my, A game 90-95% of the time, because I like how my body feels whenever I feed it well and give it the things that it needs. So at the end of the day, this is Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. And guys, I so am excited about all the, collaboration that we brought in on this, food, talk today, Choppa Talk, and Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. And I'm just so thankful that all you guys are tuning in, and this is making a difference for you. I hope that this week can be a week of challenge to incorporate more veggies, more exercise, more de-stressing practices, whether going to bed earlier or eating better, or drinking more fluids, or just having a better attitude and leveraging that $1 million asset, your smile, and smile at somebody today. You might be surprised. You might get, people smiling back at you, and you might create a new relationship. You might create a new memory. You might create a new, powerful tool in your repertoire to tell people who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and share your vision with somebody.
I know there's that fact that you always hear thrown around. It's like, it takes less muscles in your face to smile than it does to frown,
or to stay neutral.
But what if you want to exercise?
Yeah, I was trying to build my muscles, because gains.
That's right.
But your weight gains or like muscle gains?
Muscle gains.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be stern and hardcore.
Yeah. So right now we are about to switch over, Dr. Choppa. How can somebody get a hold of you? It's 9:59.
So 281-554-8600, or visit our website, justlivewell.com. We are in League City, Texas, and we are Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. We give people alternatives to drugs and surgery, and we love the idea that we can take a person, whether they've got a debilitating illness from birth or all the way that has developed in their mid-20s or 30s or 40s, and they don't know where to start. We will help you get started. We'll give you a platform to launch forward, and so that you can live the best version of yourself in the 21st century. And guys, let me tell you, it's possible. You can do this, and we want to be a coach. We want to be a driving force of change in your life, and this is what I encourage you to do, is just make yourself accountable to the practices of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center are teaching. Jennifer's an amazing nutritionist. Myself and Dr. Amber, we are here to serve you. My staff is, dedicated to carrying forward the mission of getting sick people well without drugs and surgery. So God bless all of you guys. I love the show today. I love being with all of you, and I'm so glad that you guys are sharing this video with your friends, that you're telling your friends, family, and loved ones how important it is to incorporate better living each and every day. God bless.
All right. Hey, guys. Stay tuned. Do not leave, because we're going to be announcing the winners for the Pub on Me Crawfish giveaway, the great giveaway of March 2019. So we're excited about it. Hey, the video went nuts. I think it has about like 28,000 views on it right now.
Almost 29,000 views, and we're going to be announcing those winners here in the next. We already have the winners in our hand. We just have to make the announcement, and we're not going to do it early this time, but we're going to make that announcement, and then we're going to also be talking to Wheelchairs for Warriors coming up next.
All right, so Wheelchairs for Warriors are going to be in studio. We're going to be learning about everything that they have going on, learning about all of the things that they're able to do in the community. So this will be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart, and we are going to be on till 11. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and type in, what do you have going on today? Let us know. What are you getting into? It's Tuesday. Yesterday was awesome. We kind of say something around here, TGIM, whenever it's Monday. But you know what? Thank God and thank goodness it is Tuesday. We're going to have another positive day. Let us know what we can do to help you out. Maybe spread some awareness about your event. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. Stay tuned. Curt! Hi, my name is Gardy.
Hi, Gardy. I'm Crystal.
Crystal, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
All right.
Yeah, I popped on and it had your the video had 13 shares, so I shared it to
Thank you.
14 more.
There you go.
Yeah, sharing is caring, and something that Facebook has started showing us is like who's actually shared the video. So it's like Ashley, Dr. Chop's office.
Yeah, it'll have a lot of different
Should
pages
be
for
all
me.
you guys. We appreciate that.
A sharer is somebody who also shares a whole bunch. So it's almost like a badge in a way.
It is a badge. I'm a sharer.
It's a badge of caring, sharing.
Put this up a little
Yeah, you
bit.
can move that and then just get it somewhere that's comfortable, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's just-
Is that a good shot? Can you see the?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Can you see the? All right. Can you see your face? Was that mic blocking it?
Yeah, she's good.
Okay, Crystal. So you have a bunch of cool stuff going on, right?
I do.
Can you share just a little bit before we go on the FM?
I can. So we are Wheelchairs for Warriors, and we provide custom rehab seating solutions to veterans and first responders.
Okay. So what does that mean? Like
So
seating?
what that means is that we custom design wheelchairs for veterans and first responders who need them.
Okay.
Surprisingly enough, they all need them.
Yeah. And when did y'all start?
We got our 501c3 in 2017.
Okay.
2017.
2017. And what led you to want to start this?
Well, I served in Baghdad for 2 years. I helped stand up the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. And when I came back, I wanted to continue that service to my country. I was with the State Department, and I wanted to continue that service. And I shadowed a couple of different organizations, but I didn't find one that was a really good fit.
Mm-hmm.
So
You have a jacket over there that says United States Embassy Baghdad.
I do. I wear it loud and proud.
So you said,
I earned it.
yeah. So the State Department, that's what you said? That's where you worked or served?
I worked in the State Department.
Okay.
I was supposed to go into the Navy as a young girl, and I didn't, so this was my punishment. Go to a war zone, serve your country.
So you wanted to
Not
serve in the
really
Navy or like what?
Yeah, so I was supposed to, our whole family is military. You know, my dad was 101st Airborne. My uncle served for the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon, and then he went on to be the commander at NORAD in Colorado Springs. And because everybody, if there's a war, Larimore has served in it. And so my family's plan for me was the Navy. And I was on the buddy program with a girlfriend here from Texas City, Sonia Yanis, and I just waved to her as she drove away in the Navy car. I didn't go.
You just opted not to? Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
I do. We have a lot.
Did they serve?
No, typically the oldest one, whether you're male or female. So it was me, and I didn't do it.
Decided not to.
I did.
Yeah. So let's see. We got 3 seconds. Let's go ahead and go on, and we'll get this going. Here we go. Good morning. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
It is Tuesday morning. We just got done talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa, and we have some winners. We have some winners of the Fub on Me and Bistro and Grill giveaway. They opened their brand new seafood side, and we have some people who are going to win some crawfish. Crystal is in studio with us. Crystal, how are you doing today?
Good.
You know, can you share real quick what the name of the organization that you run is?
Wheelchairs for Warriors.
Do you like crawfish?
I love crawfish. I'm a crawfish addict.
A crawfish addict?
Yeah. Well, we have an awesome video that we had kind of released about a week ago today.
Can we show that video one more time?
Sure, show it.
Oh, we can't because we don't have a way to. Okay, never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah, so it's 10:06 a.m. and let's go ahead and announce the winners.
Yes. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. The first winner of the 3 pounds of crawfish. If your name is announced, you do have to give us a text at 346-704-1806. We'll give you the instructions on how you get those 3 pounds of crawfish from Fub on Me Bistro and Grill. They are a partner here at KHEA Radio. You can find them on 646 and on the left-hand side of the interstate of I-45, right next to HEB.
If you're going north.
All right, the first winner is Courtney Obendorfer. I hope I said that correctly. Courtney, you are the first winner.
Congratulations!
The second winner is Destiny Raina. Destiny Raina, you are the second winner. And then finally, the third and final winner of the 3 pounds of crawfish fun, Fub on Me Bistro and Grill, is Fabian Galvez. So Fabian, Destiny, and Courtney, you need to give us a text at 346-704-1806. We'll make a post and announce those winners so that you have a chance to reach out to us. We'll tell you what your next steps are. Congratulations to all 3 winners. Thank you to everyone who participated. But stay tuned because we're going to be talking more about wheelchairs for warriors during this next hour.
Yeah, everybody else, feel free to go check out Fub on Me. Let us know what you think. A lot of people already have. You know, whenever there's a video that's dropped like that or posted on social media, a lot of the times people will go check out the business. And there's been a lot of great feedback. We love to see your pictures. Post them on our wall. Tag us in the video. Feel free to share out your own video. We want to see it. We want to see what your thoughts are. So right now it's 10:08. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart, and we have Crystal in studio with Wheelchairs for Warriors. How are you doing, Crystal?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing really good.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for coming on today and making some time.
Yes, thank you for having us.
So can you share, what the idea for Wheelchairs for Warriors is?
Mm-hmm. So the idea is to provide veterans and first responders. Is this my camera?
Yeah, you don't have to look at it.
I don't have to look at it.
No.
You got me covered from all angles.
You can look at me.
You know what I'm saying? We have, so surprisingly enough, veterans and first responders typically don't get all the wheelchairs that they need. And we had an epiphany one day that a veteran or a first responder may be in a wheelchair. We call them warriors. May be in a wheelchair, but they may need a different wheelchair, right? So the wheelchair for their everyday life may be a different wheelchair from their weekend life or from their sporting adventure life that they may want to go pursue. And these guys have been, and women have been on mission, on assignment with the Band of Brothers, and then all of a sudden they're taken out of that. They're taken out of the fight, right? So when they recover, it's a long process. And at some point, they want to get back into the fight again, right? They want to have another mission. And that mission may be sports. It may be just being independent. Whatever that mission is, we want to help them fulfill that mission. And surprisingly enough, they're kind of stuck with like a wheelchair.
And it's just, whenever I think of a wheelchair, there's like not many styles. It's just like one wheelchair, but
there's so many styles. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we build wheelchairs. Like we had a Marine that we just gave a wheelchair to. His name is Eric Morante, and he lives in San Antonio, Texas. And Eric is an amputee. His right leg is amputated, but his left arm was shattered. So the VA said, well, here's a really nice pair of crutches and a 52-pound wheelchair. Have a great life. Okay,
What?
Say what? So he waited and waited and was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I think he was injured in 2007 for a wheelchair. He can't pick up, he can drive, right? So his car's adapted to where he can drive. But he can't pick that wheelchair up and put that wheelchair in the back of his truck. And also, it's hard for him to roll it. You know, it's huge, it's big, it's clunky. At some point, you know, your shoulders are giving out, right? So we don't want to take somebody who's a paraplegic and turn them into a quadriplegic over the course of their life because they don't have the proper equipment. And with the proper equipment, life is a lot easier. So we built Eric a 12.5, 13-pound titanium wheelchair. So his wheelchair is easy for him to just pick up, throw in the back of his wheelchair, take wherever he needs to take, give him some relief from wearing his prosthetic. Because another thing that we don't think about is if a guy has a prosthetic and that's his only way to get around, right, is to wear the prosthetic because his wheelchair just doesn't work for him. So he's wearing the prosthetic, and then after time, it irritates his stump. Well, if he has to have more removed, then at some point he can't even wear a prosthetic, right? So there are so many factors and variables that we as citizens and average, you know, man on the street, we just don't think about. So we really saved Eric a lot of trouble and gave him more freedom and just a longer lifespan with being able to wear a prosthetic as well.
How do you make a wheelchair something that is, you know, usually 40, 50, however many pounds to 12 or 13 pounds? How do you get that
we have
smaller?
These elves in this tiny little workshop. we have a seating specialist, a rehab seating specialist. He's an ATP, I think is the exact term for him. He's also a mechanical engineer. So he designs the wheelchairs, you know, like on CAD drawings or you know, it's very technical stuff for me. But he designs the wheelchairs. And then there are about 4 main manufacturers of wheelchairs in the United States. And so they manufacture the wheelchair for us to the veteran-specific measurements. And we go, and Paul takes very, very detailed measurements. So he measures from the wrist to the elbow, from the elbow to under the arm. I mean, everything is a specific measurement. So
it's custom for that individual person.
Specifically.
So you can cut out a lot of the area that's unnecessary, and it makes a lighter product.
Yeah.
Specifically designed for that.
Yep, there's that. And then there's also, if you think about pressure relief, you know, some of these guys can't feel a lot. So they don't know if their feet are hanging or if their feet are proper. They get pressure sores and wounds, sometimes down to the bone, if things aren't designed and fit properly. So we take care of all of that.
Wow. You know, You mentioned a little bit before we went on the FM whenever you started with Wheelchairs for Warriors. Can you share one more time, like what year started and what did that process look like starting? You know, it's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. I was in Baghdad for 2004, 2005, and came home and wanted to continue my, you know, service to my country. And I had shadowed a couple of organizations, and there just wasn't, you know, that right fit. And so my girlfriend, who's an Army veteran, Heidi Hansing, and I were chatting, and let's just start our own nonprofit. We have the means and the capability to raise funds, so let's just start our own. And she said, how? I said, I have no idea, but we'll make it happen. And we didn't really know what it was going to look like. And we would take Paul to a veterans event. So we would just tote him around with us from one event to another. And he, being a wheelchair seating specialist for workman's comp, that's what he does for a living, he was just in shock at how bad the wheelchairs were for the veterans. He would say things like, oh my gosh, that man is a Purple Heart recipient. His wheelchair is terrible. Because that's all he could see was the wheelchair. He saw it, and he saw how he could make it better. And Heidi and I were like, dude, okay. We can't fix that. And then one day, it was like God had the sledgehammer, and he had a little tiny hammer, and he kept going ding, ding, ding. And then he took the sledgehammer and hit me. And I looked at Paul one day and I went, hold on. I called Heidi. I said, I have it. I know what we're supposed to be doing. She goes, what? Wheelchairs for Warriors. She's like, oh, that took us long enough to figure that out. But, you know. So
2004, 2005, you're in Baghdad. You come back, and then it took a long time before 2017, just of ideas, and you wanted to be involved.
Right. Yeah.
How did you meet Paul?
So I met Paul in Texas City. I was doing a fundraiser for a political candidate, and somebody said, hey, we have a friend that we want you to meet. And I was like, okay. And they thought we would make the perfect couple, you know. And so I was just like, okay. And it took a long time for us to finally meet because we both have busy lives. And then we met, and we've been together ever since.
There you go.
Yeah, so I told him to all the military, and his father was also an Army veteran who was in a wheelchair, and that's what got him passionate about working on wheelchairs.
And then he designs them now.
He designs them.
And these, how many wheelchairs, since 2017 have y'all been able to outfit? Because it seems like an individual wheelchair, that's a lot of work. Like one specific design, one wheelchair for one person.
It's a lot of work and it's a lot of money, and we're nationwide. So we go to the veteran, because here's the other issue. Sometimes they can't get to the VA, right? And listen, we also had an epiphany that one wheelchair just isn't enough. They may need 2 or 3 wheelchairs. So their everyday life is a power chair maybe. And if they want to do sports, like in the Paralympics, shooting, basketball, whatever, they need a different kind of chair. And they need a chair that has dump. And I was like, what is dump? I don't know what that is. But that's like where the chair leans back, kind of ghetto style, and they can kind of throw the basketballs or shoot a gun or hold it properly. And there's all sorts of different specifications for that as well. So the last 2 chairs that we're designing them right now are specifically for 2 guys who are in the Paralympics in the shooting sports.
How much does it cost to make a wheelchair, like one of the wheelchairs?
So the wheelchairs vary in price from $5,500, $600, $5,500, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000, $25,000, $40,000. It goes up and up. If you are a quadriplegic and the only thing you can do is blink, we can design a wheelchair that you can move straight, you can lift up, you can lay it flat, you can do whatever you want just by blinking your eyes. Or if all you can do is breathe by the puff of your breath, we can design a wheelchair for you. And we designed a very expensive wheelchair for a guy, a Green Beret in California like that.
How many wheelchairs since 2017 have you guys designed?
We have designed 2 wheelchairs and are in the process of 4 more. So 6. It's very expensive.
Yeah, it seems like it's a long process, but it's a great cause. So it's I guess the mission is to help these veterans and first responders.
Right.
If somebody's not familiar, like what actually classifies you as a first responder?
So a first responder is EMS, police officers, firefighters, first responders, U.S. Secret Service agents.
Anybody who kind of serves.
Wears the uniform.
Yeah. And that's huge, because somebody mentioned earlier in our stream, just saying like, hey, that's really cool that you also focus on the first responders as well, and the veterans, including the veterans.
State Department. Typically, what we have found is that all of those first responders have really great insurance and they're on workman's comp, so they get the best of the best. What we truly have found is it really is the veteran who's not getting taken care of as much as they should be taken care of. The VA is underfunded, it's undermanned, they're understaffed, they're undereducated on what to do. The process is crazy. We talk to veterans sometimes who, they're giving an over the phone, they're taking their own measurements in their chair, leaning over, taking measurements and turning those measurements in and getting a wheelchair based on that. And the wheelchairs come back and they're either too small in the seat, or they're not long enough, and then they have to wait again, and it's a terrible process.
Does insurance work with you guys, or is that something like no, they don't?
We are strictly donations, and a lot of people always want to know, well, I can't stroke a $10,000 check, for a wheelchair, but what you can do is Facebook has, you can do a fundraiser on your birthday. You can do a fundraiser any day of the week for anything. It doesn't have to be your birthday, right?
Right.
And you can share, like you asked, what did you say earlier about sharers? You said it was a badge or something?
Sharing. Oh yeah, sharers now get a badge where they're deemed a sharer of a page. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's the same thing. You can share our story and share our page, and when we do fundraisers, typically for a veteran, you can share that.
So
Host
you guys
a golf tournament.
You guys help fundraise specifically for different veterans. Talk about some of that fundraising that you guys do.
How do y'all get the money?
Yes.
So we do the Facebook fundraisers. We have corporate donations. I've always been a fundraiser, but it's typically been for politicians. So now I'm doing it for veterans. I feel a whole lot better about it. And the one thing about the veterans, too, is that I always ask them at the end of every interview, would you do it again? And they all say yes. And I mean, you know, that just warms my heart. So you can write us a check. Our P.O. Box 2911, League City, Texas, 77574. You can go to our website and donate. You can do a fundraiser on Facebook. You can host a golf tournament. There's a lot of different ways that we raise money. My favorite way is the check system.
Yeah. Did you grow up in this area?
Yeah, I went to high school in Texas City.
Okay, and then you were in Baghdad, and then came back from this area. How has it been? I guess coming back and starting a nonprofit in the area that you grew up in.
It has been remarkable. The outpouring of support and love is crazy. We have, Commissioner Joe Giusti, Commissioner Del Apfel. They are all 100% involved, and they don't ever want the credit. They don't want any credit, but they help. And, our Congressman Weber helps. Prestige Oysters, a local business here, and they've been a huge supporter. I mean, O2 Bistro wants to throw a fundraiser for us. I mean, the support locally is pretty phenomenal.
Are you going to the San Leon Oyster Festival?
Of course. We're helping. Yes, those are my people. We're helping promote that.
We're emceeing the event.
That's awesome. I heard that. I told Lisa to reach out to you guys, so that's good.
Sweet. Yeah. Mickey Gilly's going to be there.
Yes.
That'll be really cool.
Be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Right now, let's see. It's 10:21. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. I see Fabian weighed in. He won the not the Bayshore Grill, but the Fub on Me Bistro and Grill crawfish giveaway. Check out Bayshore Grill too. They have some really good crawfish.
Yes.
Over there. They're kind of close as well to Prestige.
They're one of our partners here at KHEA Radio, so we highly support anyone who partners with KHEA Radio. They have the best crawfish.
Well, they really do have the best crawfish. Kurt doesn't eat crawfish, so he doesn't know.
Oh, that's crazy. And somewhere out there, there's a crawfish that's also missing you.
Gardy's like, that's true.
Yeah. No, they probably, if they've met him.
So how do you eat your crawfish? Do you just peel them and eat them, or do you have to have butter and garlic, or what's your
either way? I usually do the butter and I'll dip it in there, but if I peel it, I'll dip it and eat it, dip it and eat it. And then he's like, "Can I have your butter?" I'm like, "No, you're eating. What are you eating? Like a cheeseburger?" And he wants to dip it in my butter. I'm like,
I don't blame you.
Order your own.
Butter and garlic is like
order your own.
If you're gonna die of a heart
take
attack,
mine.
it might as well be that way.
Right. I figured you only live once, YOLO.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Hey, I was gonna switching back over to the wheelchairs for warriors kind of situation. The two that you've blessed with the wheelchairs, and that I mean, it seems like a small amount, but it's still two more that didn't have it in the first place. What did the veterans tell you about those wheelchairs, and what was their stories? Kind of, if you could talk about that.
Oh yeah. So Eric Morante was the veteran, and so we explained all of that earlier about how that saves his stump and that saves his arm and that just saves him.
When you say saves him,
so much stress.
Because they could potentially lose more from it not being a good fit.
If you're rolling around in a wheelchair like this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just think about what that does to your shoulders. And if it's heavy, and we built him a 12-pound, I mean, it weighs as much as an AR. He's used to carrying that much weight around, right? Easy peasy. Now, Joe Lowry was a bigger monster wheelchair, and we had our kickoff fundraiser at the Redneck Country Club in Stafford. Is that right, Stafford? I think it's in Stafford. And we flew Joe Lowry down here from California and presented his wheelchair to him, and he was just like a kid in a candy store. What that chair did for Joe is that chair will stand him straight up, and then he can be eye to eye with his peers, right? He can get coffee out of the cabinet. He can get his own food out of the cabinet. His wife doesn't have to be at his beck and call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He went on a mission. He sent us all a video, and he goes, "Hey, I'm on a mission." And we were like, uh-oh, where's Joe going? And he went to Target by himself, bought his groceries, took care of himself, came back home. Everything was great.
Wow.
He is so happy.
I think what's powerful about the stories, you mentioned, you asked these gentlemen, was it two guys? It's two guys, right? You know, would you do it again? And their answer?
Absolutely. And Joe's story was like, he's a Green Beret. So these Green Berets are, bad dudes. And he how much of these stories do y'all want to hear? You want to hear the story?
We
Ready?
do, yes.
Okay. It's pretty cool. So they would be, if it was a kill, right? They had the enemy and we were in a war, and he always wanted to see what he was shooting. And he's on a 50 cal, and he would just poke his head around from the gun because he wanted to see the explosion. So if it was a building or a person or whatever it was, he would want to see it. And he got dinged on one of those peeking arounds, right? So it's called a pecan round, and it's a bullet about this long. It's humongous, and it hit his helmet, and it went through, and it struck him in the head, and it went in this side and out that side. He still has his helmet with the dried blood on the inside, and it shattered some bone fragments in his head, and that caused him to have what they call hemispheric paralysis. So it hit him on his right side, but his left side is paralyzed, or vice versa. It hit him on his left side, his right side is paralyzed. And when we showed up to Joe's house in California, he had a clunky wheelchair that you would get at, like Walgreens or something. And one armrest was missing, a leg rest was missing. It was pitiful. So we hooked him up.
How can somebody find you on social media if they want to, potentially work with you to get a chair, or if they want to donate to you? How can they find you?
Wheelchairs for Warriors. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on the internet. We are everywhere, and you can like us and share our page. And also, can I do this? Can I talk about this? Can you, if I show it to you, can they see it?
Yeah, you can see it. They can see it right there.
Okay, see that? For a $100 donation, you get one of these. And let me just say, these are Arctics. These are Arctic coolers. Arctic supports the military, and we support Arctic.
Yeah, it's very important to support the military.
It's very important to support causes that support the military.
One of the things that I remember after, I think this was a few years ago, even like 2015, 2016, there were a lot of like national news stories about the state of the VA, and how like medical assistance and stuff like that. How is that important to focus on some of those things to help our veterans who help serve this country?
So it's very important, and what we're trying to do, it's the government. It is a slow process. What we are trying to do is to work with the VA to say, hey, look, we can be a support system for you, right? If you're overmanned, undermanned, and overworked, throw some of that work our way. You can fund it. We'll do the work. We'll take care of the veteran. We'll go anywhere. And so we're working slowly,
trying to make that the goal.
Making that one of the goals, not the end all goal. We don't want to be, handcuffed to their standards. Use that word loosely. And truth be told, some veterans get the best care ever. It depends on the staff. It depends on their caseworker. It depends on who they are assigned to, and it depends on which VA in the country they are assigned to. You get people who say, I haven't had anything but the best care from the VA, and then you get the opposite stories.
Talk about being that positive switch. Here's a situation that possibly could be a bad situation, and you're finding the positive and trying to help.
Yep.
Can you talk about why?
Why we're trying to help?
Yeah.
Well, listen, these guys gave it all up for us, right? They sacrificed. They, with no question, they went to war. They did what they were trained to do, what they were supposed to do, and they've come back injured. If they are sitting in front of a television 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're not able to get back into life, to join another mission, to re-engage, if they're just sitting there and they don't have the proper equipment to get out, how would that make you feel? Would you kill yourself? Would you be depressed? What would that look like for you? Well, think about what that looks like for makes me want to get all teary. So that's part of the goal too, is to just get them out, get them re-engaged with life.
Yes. You mentioned your father, serving. Can you share on I guess that upbringing? Because that has to be a huge inspiration that made you want to, pursue this.
When you come from a family of patriots and people who have served their country, it's like I bleed red, white, and blue. I've always said that, and it's always been. I've always bragged about their service. I've always bragged about my cousins. And we are in the Larimore family tree is in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and yes, even maybe the Coast Guard. Just kidding, Coasties. And my friends, and it's always been a. It's just always, I've always been in that circle of influence of patriots and generals and colonels and people in the State Department. Once I went and served in Baghdad, then it was, my eyes were opened up to other branches of service that aren't necessarily the veterans. And you asked earlier, or you had made a comment that somebody had said, it's nice that you're serving not just veterans. I go to a lot of functions and people say, hey, if you're a veteran, please stand up. And there's other people who aren't standing up because they're not a veteran, right? But they were State Department and they served their country in wartime. Or they were U.S. Secret Service agents. They served their country in wartime, right? Mm-hmm. But they're not honored. So I just wanted to make sure that we honored everybody who has served their country in a uniform.
So working for the State Department, how do you end up going down that career path? Because that seems like it's not something you accidentally fall into. It'd probably be tough.
No, I didn't accidentally fall into it. I was in the oil and gas industry for a long time, and I had gotten a couple of phone calls from headhunters when the war started because KBR and Halliburton, they got the job, and so they had all these positions to fill. They won the contract with the State Department. So they had a lot of jobs to fill, and headhunters were calling everybody they could get their hands on to go fill a plethora of jobs out there that were needed. And they called me, and I was like, where? You want me to go where? And so I just said no. But I passed the information on to a friend of mine who was in construction, a male friend of mine. He and his wife were really good friends of mine. So he went. Well, he knew that the State Department was looking for someone to help them stand up the U.S. Embassy, work at the U.S. Embassy, someone who, had done high-end work before, liaison type stuff. So I went. It wasn't like I went. It was a long process. It was, hey, do you want to go? No. Conversations with my family. Should I go? What should I do? And, my heart was racing. And I always tell people, feel the fear and do it anyway. If it makes your heart race, it's probably something you might want to do or run the other way. One of those two things. And so just long conversations with my family about going and why I wanted to go, what was the thought process. And so I went.
How can you share any of your stories or experiences over there? How was life different from just here?
I was told I couldn't say bad words,
City?
And I was with the Marines, so
That's true.
I was with the Marines for a long time. I asked one of the colonels one day. So the Marines had. I went into the Marine house. So the U.S. Embassy was just a building, and it was Saddam Hussein's daughter's house at some point. And there was a back house, and that was where the staff and the kitchen was, because the kitchens are not in the main houses, just in case they catch on fire. They don't want the main house to burn down. They want the house with the staff to burn down. So anyway, so that was over there in another building. So I called it the Texas White House. And then they would say, why is it called the Texas White House? We're from New Jersey, So I got here first. That's what it's going to be called. And so the Marines kind of commandeered that building back there, and they took it over, and I went back in the building to look for the Marine captain for something, and they would always say, female on deck. Oh, it's just Larimore, because they would have their little green shorts on or whatever. So they'd be running around, and it was just we just had a blast. Everything was fun. But I walked into their kitchen, and the food was like, I didn't know what it was. And it was called vat food, and it was in these big containers and these little slats, and it was, I couldn't really describe it. I couldn't identify it. I didn't know what it was. I think I could identify the mashed potatoes. And I was like, what is this? That's our chow. You're eating that? I think you should eat that. So I went to, kitchen staff for KBR and said, hey, can we upgrade their food a little bit? They're fighting for us on the front lines. Can we, do something about it. So sure, they upgraded the staff. So the colonel calls me and he goes, "Hey, Larimore, I appreciate you upgrading the Marines chow. It was very nice of you. Thank you, sir. Is there anything I can do for you?" "You're the colonel. I'm not." "No." "Oh, wait. Yes. Could you ask them to not say the F word every 2 seconds?"
Just tone it back, yeah.
Just, because I'm afraid the ambassador's going to walk in one day and say, "How are you doing, Larimore?" "Pretty good, sir. How are you doing?" And he said, "No." "Okay." And
I'm taking back the chow. That's what I said.
"I'm taking back the chow." And he said, "Why?" Or he said, "Would you like for me to tell you why?" And I said, "No, I'm pretty sure that it's below my pay grade. You don't have to tell me why you said no. You just said no." And he goes, "No, I want to tell you." "Oh, okay." He says, "Look, they're fighting every day. They're out there fighting. They don't have girlfriends. They don't have anything to do. They can't drink. The thing that they can do is smoke cigarettes and cuss. And I'm going to let them do all of that they want." "Roger that, sir."
That's an interesting look at things. And that kind of makes sense. Right now it's 10:35, KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Coming up next, it's some Toby Mac. Boom. So if somebody wants to, find you, do you have a website too? Or is it just social media?
No, it's everything. Yeah, we have a website.
What is the website?
Wheelchairsforwarriors.com.
Awesome. Cool. So you said you have 4 more that are like being planned or drafted, or how does that go?
So we went to New York last weekend. So we have 2 female veterans in New York that we're working with. One was on the Quick Response Force, QRF. So she was, she's amazing. And her story is very cute. Quick response means quick, right? You can't think about it. You got to go. When the whistle sounds, you're out. She was in the shower when the whistle sounded. She had to run to get. So she was running through the camp.
Well, like the whistle, is it saying, like, what is the whistle telling them to do?
So a tone, a whistle, a siren, something to like, get in your vehicles, get dressed, get in your vehicles. We're going out.
Okay.
Right? So something was happening.
Gotcha.
So we don't know if there was an explosion, out there in the red zone. I don't know exactly what the situation was, but and I say the whistle sounded. I don't know if it was it's probably a siren.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably a siren. So anyway, so she was responding quickly, and she got hit by an IED. So a mortar round. So an IED, do y'all know the difference? An IED is an improvised explosive device, and that's typically on the ground, and vehicles would roll over it, and it'll explode. An RPG is a rocket-propelled grenade. So that's this rocket. They put a grenade on a rocket, and they fire it off, and they have coordinates where they want it to go. Sometimes it's just a crapshoot, right? So they fire it over towards us, and it'll land. And what happens with the mortar is that the shrapnel, you've heard the word shrapnel, right? So all the metal in it explodes out like this, so it has maximum impact. So a mortar hit the ground, and she was near it, and she got struck. And so she's paralyzed from the waist down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you visited her in New York, y'all are to measure and to plan out that
We've already done
chair?
all the measurements, and we're in the process right now of raising money for her chair.
What kind of chair is she going to need? Anything for like sports, or so she can lean back, or is it just to get around?
So she has a power chair from the VA, and she's on her second fitting. She's waiting on the third one because the fittings aren't correct, right? So first one was wrong, second one was wrong. She's waiting on the third one. She's pretty sure 3's a charm, and it's going to be the right one. What she wants is a power assist chair because she's still mobile here, right? So she wants a power assist chair, and the VA won't give her a secondary chair. So we're building her a chair that she can roll, and that she can do adaptive sports in, because the big power chairs that stand you all the way up, lay you flat, do all that, they're not really good for sports. They're not agile. So we're building her one of those chairs.
Wow. These people, they go from being very active, being, in great shape and able to do everything, and then all of a sudden, they're not able to. And I guess that's pretty important for them to be able to play sports and still, do stuff.
Something.
Because they went from active to nothing. And then, like you mentioned, if you're sitting in front of the TV, just being like, this is all I can do. What's going on?
Yeah. So she plays basketball and she does other things, maybe racquetball. And so she goes to a VA in Albany, New York, and they have a big adaptive sports program. And so she plays sports with people that are also, her people.
How important is it for these veterans, wounded or not, to have that camaraderie, to maybe go and
Very
talk
good
to somebody
question.
or hang out with each other and share experiences and know somebody that went through what they went through?
It's very important. And, my hat's off to Camp Hope in Houston about their peer-to-peer mentorship, because it's really hard to have a conversation with someone about what you're going through if they haven't gone through it. When I came back from Baghdad, I never served. I never shot anybody. Not served. I never was on the front lines. I was very well protected as you can be in a war zone. But my life was incredibly different. And when I came back, I was still jumpy. I still didn't want to talk to people. I still wanted to close myself off. I had enough because it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just think about, and I can't even imagine what a veteran goes through. And it's the same thing with police officers and firefighters. Just the amount of stress you're under every single day, knowing at any second you could die. And you don't think about it all the time or you wouldn't do what you do, right? But that thought is subconsciously there. And the stress is just like, it's a lot of pressure. And to have people to talk to is life-saving, I'm sure.
The Crawfish Bash that's taking place in Lamarck, they have donated in the past to Camp Hope, and I believe a portion of it, again, will go there as well. So that's when we learned about them and what they do. I think they actually came in after the Santa Fe High School with the Education work with the Education Foundation to talk about PTSD. What is that? How do you deal with that? How do you talk to somebody? And that's great of Camp Hope to be able to do that.
Yeah, there are a lot of veterans organizations that have sprung up by individuals. And, I kind of hate to say this phrase, but it takes a village. Sometimes it takes your community. It takes a village. It takes more than one or two people. We have a huge military. Our military is big, and we've been fighting this particular war for a long time. And I'm in awe of people who start nonprofits. The Independence Fund, they helped Eric get his prosthetic leg. And another interesting thing, I'm hanging out with Eric. We're looking at his house, figuring out his lifestyle needs, and he's got 5 or 6 prosthetics. They're all for different things. He's got one for running, one for basketball, one for every day. I never even thought about that. Just think about that. I have more than one pair of shoes.
Depending on what you got going on, what you're doing,
you know? And one of my girlfriends said, I have more than one pair of running shoes. So the same thing with the wheelchairs. We want to make sure that, one wheelchair does not fit all of their needs. So we want to make sure we get them whatever they need.
One of the things that that we've talked about a little bit, but I think it's important to touch on, this war that we're still fighting is a little different than any other war that we've been a part of in the past. It's World War II, Korean War, there was a set time, there was a set, enemy, if you want to call it that. But this is a war on terror, which is a war on a verb. It's,
exactly,
basically,
it's
right?
A war on a verb. And
so, the hardest part is the veterans are coming back and not seeing the same amount of support that they used to in previous wars. Does that make it more difficult for what you're doing and trying to raise awareness about trying to get people to help these people who were, injured at war, but people are like, it's not really. You know what I mean by that question?
Well, I'll beg to differ with you a little bit. I think that the Vietnam veterans were the ones who have, through history, been treated the worst. And I do believe that because of what the Vietnam veterans went through, that our veterans of the Iraq War, Operation Iraqi Freedom, it's gone through several changes. I believe that they are getting better support. I believe that it's still the VA. It's still a government entity. It is still huge. It is, again, underfunded, understaffed, undermanned. It is a beast of an organization. And thank God for some of the private organizations that come along. And people say all the time, well, doesn't the VA give them wheelchairs? What do they need you for? It's like, just look around.
Wow. So do you nominate yourself or nominate somebody, or do you all just find these specific cases? How do you pick the people?
Great question. So if you are a veteran and you are in need, you can go to our website, wheelchairsforwarriors.com, and you can apply. If you have a buddy that is in need, you can apply. And here's one of the very difficult situations we find ourselves in. Veterans are taught to make do. A lot of times, police officers, firefighters, a lot of first responders, they're taught to make do with the equipment that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Just make do.
Yeah.
We don't have the money. We don't have the funds. You just
figure it out. You'll be okay.
Figure it out. Tweak it. Fix it yourself. We can't get you new equipment. So instead of them raising their hand and saying, I need help, typically what most of them do is say, oh, man, I don't want to take a wheelchair away from another guy who might need it more. It's like, hey, you're that guy. You need it more. So even our Green Beret, Joe Lowry, who desperately needed a wheelchair. One of the airlines had messed up his wheelchair, and his power chair was no longer functionable. Just did not function. And the VA said, well, we gave you a wheelchair. It's been, you only get one every 5 years, or 3 to 5 years, depending on your situation, and your time's just not up yet, buddy. So off to the rescue. But he did not apply for himself. A friend of his applied, because a friend of his who also was in a wheelchair said, no, you need a wheelchair. I'm going to apply.
What kind of cost went into his?
His was around $25,000, and there's a company out there called Invacare, so they're a manufacturer, and Invacare gave us his wheelchair at cost, so it was a huge blessing. Love those people.
You mentioned, I guess, how many you said there's like 4 or 5 manufacturers in the U.S., or where are these manufacturers?
In the U.S. Made in the USA.
Yes,
and
is that important?
That's important.
Oh, yeah.
And we can have their wheelchairs be whatever color they want, too. So if they're super patriotic, they want it red, white, and blue. Perfect. If they're an Aggie, you want it burnt orange? No, I'm just kidding, Aggies. If you're an Aggie and you want it maroon, we can make it maroon. If you're a UT graduate, we can make it burnt orange. If you're, LSU, purple. We can do whatever you want. It's so cool. And then they get that little sense of ownership, right? This is mine. It's the colors I picked out. So they have, and then we can also put the emblem of the branch that they served in on the back of the chair in some cases. We just embroidery it on the back, and so it says, United States Marine Corps, Coast Guard, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that they have a pride in that branch. Yeah, be able to be like, I love my country. This is why I did what I did, and that's amazing that they're saying, I would do it again. I would serve again. Yeah, I know. It's a pretty fascinating time to sit there and listen to these guys and listen to their stories. And we try to put their stories on social media as much as possible. And it's no little bit of work. I do have a job that I have to do. But I interview every single candidate. And as soon as I can get that uploaded, and if anybody would like to volunteer to help me make nice videos, that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. But we get the videos uploaded, and and I have them tell their story. So it's a video of the veteran, individual veteran sharing the story. Yeah. So Joe Lowry's story, of course, he's up there. His video is there because he was our first guy. He was kind of our little poster child. What other kind of volunteers could you all use? Is there any other roles that people can, maybe they aren't, good at video editing or videography skills, but is there any other need that y'all have? We would love if anybody wants to host a fundraiser. It's just really not my strong suit. A golf tournament, anything like that, or just volunteering. I think we're going to do another fundraiser in February at the Redneck Country Club again. Okay. So if anybody would like to volunteer to sell T-shirts or check people in at the front door, anything like that, certainly feel free to volunteer. So the Redneck Country Club, because I'm not necessarily a country club type, but I'm not necessarily redneck, either. But I feel like I would fit in there. No, you would fit in. I'd be like, y'all should come. This is my kind of place, maybe. What is the place? It's just Is it actually a golf course? No, it's not even. It's a venue. Course. It's so much fun. So, Michael Berry host. Y'all know Michael Berry, of course you do. Oh, yeah, you're on the radio. You got to know Michael Berry. So he started the Redneck Country Club, and he almost built it through donations. It was hysterical. He's, look, I don't have any money, but we're gonna have a country club where rednecks can go. And sure enough,
The chairs are like the old nylon lawn chairs with the stripes, all the different color stripes with that little aluminum frame.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly the chairs that are there. And it is just this little redneck country club, and you can buy memberships to the country club, and sometimes it's open. He does a lot of things for veterans there that's open and free to veterans, and it's just a blast.
That's cool. Is there any other nonprofits that focus on veterans that you've had a good relationship with, and you maybe been able to work together?
There's Folds of Honor is another really good one, and the Wave Foundation is specifically for females, and they will help females in any situation. So if you're a female veteran and you're homeless, you need a place to sleep. If you have to hurry, get out of your home, if you need a vehicle, if you need clothes to go on a job interview, if you need a job. So the Wave Foundation was started by a female veteran who came back from a war severely injured and couldn't find resources. And female veterans is the largest growing homeless population in the U.S. So there's a lot of really good organizations. Independence Fund.
I'm sure there's a lot of factors that go into that, but is there research that shows why is that? I'm not an expert. This isn't my lane. But I'll tell you that a lot of service women go serve and they're in war and they come home and their husband has divorced them, gotten custody of their children, has control of the house, and they come home and they're instantly homeless with the clothes in their duffel bag. Mm-hmm.
They didn't know they were getting a divorce. They didn't know they were losing custody of their child, and they probably need, better advocates out there for female veterans too. So
Heidi's mentioning, and she said, if I'm saying this right, it's AntaresAlliance.com and then Oath Foundation. Are those two others that y'all have worked with or partnered with?
Oath Foundation is a really good one. Gary Bartels is the executive director of Oath. And Oath Inc., and they're also on Facebook, he takes veterans out on adventures. So maybe it's to Disneyland, maybe it's hunting, maybe it's fishing. And if you have a ranch or if you own Disney World, you can reach out to us and you can reach out to Gary and say, hey, I want to sponsor a trip for a veteran. And he will grab a veteran. And again, with that sitting in front of the TV, staying in your own thoughts, poor me, we want to get them out, right? Got to get them out into society, get them out and having an adventure. And then Antares Alliance is a group of veteran-owned businesses and nonprofits. It's an amazing group, and you can join the Antares Alliance and have access to all of these different veteran-owned businesses. You can give them business, or you can do business with them. And there's a corporate fee annually, but they vet you. But if you want to have a corporate culture of giving back, if you're a corporation and you say, we have a corporate culture of giving back, and you donate $500 a year to, just not really a culture. You donated $500, bless your heart, right? Mm-hmm. If you are a business and you truly want to have that spirit within your company of having a corporate culture of giving back, you can join the Antares Alliance. You can become a lifelong sponsor for Wheelchairs for Warriors. You can do something with Oath Inc., Wave. There's so many really good ones out there, but we work a lot with them.
Okay, so our veterans, they come back, and sometimes, if they're wounded, there's issues getting around. Like, adjusting to normal life is hard enough whenever you've been in war. Some people suffer with PTSD. Mm-hmm. You like, okay, I'm back in civilian life. You still have your training, you still have your experiences, and then when you're wounded and you're in a wheelchair, and this is, a weird comparison, but whenever I had children, I saw getting around with like a stroller, with wheels is not easy at all.
No,
and that's what veterans or anybody, that's wounded or in a wheelchair, they have to do with that all the time.
And also, that triggered a thought for me. Just think about if you are used to being the person defending, and now you're in a wheelchair, you have got to feel a huge amount of vulnerability.
Yeah, being taken care of whenever you're used to like, hey, I'm taking care of my guys, my friends, camaraderie, and then you come back and you're, you have to count on your family or your loved ones or somebody.
Help.
Yeah, you're not used to that. What do you got, Kurt? What were you saying?
I was just gonna say, that's kind of demoralizing in a way.
Yeah,
22 a day. It's probably higher than that. Mm-hmm. And it's not just wounded veterans. it's just people coming back from war. I mean, it's war is hell.
Mm-hmm. So right now it's 10:54. There's a couple minutes left. Is there anything else that you would like to share? How people can get a hold of you. Any thoughts that you have?
Okay, my cell phone. Please call my cell phone 936-777-4548. The email is easy. Heidi Hansing is our director of partner relations. It's Heidi@wheelchairsforwarriors.com. Crystal@wheelchairsforwarriors.com. So you can just reach out to us via email. Our website is up. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WeChat, LinkedIn. Linked out.
Got it all, huh?
Got it all.
LinkedIn, linked out. Hey, and one of the things that we always mention, sharing is one of the best things that you can do.
Absolutely.
Not everybody's in a position where you can be like, yeah, I'm going to donate that $500 right now.
Right.
If you can, that's awesome. Even if it's $5, that's awesome. But sometimes you're just not there. If you share, that's another way to partner. You're spreading awareness because there's a whole Facebook friends list. There's a whole social media list that you're connected with. They don't know about the organization here today.
We say it all the time. I mean, there's so many needs. We need a warehouse. We don't have an office. We don't have a place to build wheelchairs. I mean, we have more than just a financial need. There's also a need to find a home to build our wheelchairs and to store them. They're in my garage right now. It's overflowing.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna go ahead and pop over. It's 10:56. We got a bunch of busy stuff in this afternoon, but we're excited to get the week, get it going. It's Tuesday, but it's been nice. Like, I feel like the weather's finally starting to switch into spring, and it's been good. So we're excited for that Oyster Festival. You're going to be there?
Yes, of course.
We'll
oh
be
my
there
gosh,
too.
it's going to be so fun. I'll pop on the radio with you guys.
All right,
There you go.
do it. We'll be doing something. I don't
You'll
know.
be
We're
doing
excited.
something.
It's going to be a great time.
The Oyster Festival is a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Who
Have you
knew
been to
so
it
many
before?
people loved oysters. Oh yeah, we're part of the beginning family of the Oyster Fest. Absolutely.
Very cool. It'll be our first time.
We're super excited.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. If you're joining on this video, feel free to still share it out. It's going to stay on your Facebook, your page and on the feed, and people will be able to go back and watch this video. They'll be able to, ask questions and get in contact with Wheelchairs for Warriors. So have a blessed day. Be blessed.
Thank you so much.